power of a woman will motivate a man for eternity. So I'm gonna tell you like this here. Nigga ain't know about cars, promise you I know everything under the hood. Wait, did you just click on my video? Ah, that's dope, that's dope. God bless, I hope you're having a good day. Let's get to the video. Roll it! I can already tell this is gonna piss me off.
Heard women say I hate men.
Of course,
literally.
absolutely. And
Death to the patriarchy.
A lot of these ideas of what you think misandry is are just your misogynistic instincts and assumptions being exposed.
Yeah, so now you're assuming that I'm misogynistic
I'm not
because
assuming.
Yeah, you are.
I'm not assuming. That was not an assumption. I gave you a very clearly
You're
rhetorical
demonstrating
path.
it right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Really, I hate men. That's
Do you
literally the definition.
think he's misogynistic?
Yeah, probably. I think we all are a little bit, some more than others. Yeah.
All right, it's 2025. Trump is president, and we're back with another Middle Ground XL. Behind me, I have 25 traditional men and 25 progressive men.
Look.
We're gonna ask them some questions. 25 traditional men.
Now you can tell these is real niggas. Now they might not be the most muscular, but these are some real niggas. Some of them.
Men and 25 progressive men.
All these niggas look like clowns. Look, they all look like clowns. Fake ass Eminem. And this nigga look like Nerlens Noel. And you, come on, bro. Progressive. What does that mean?
We're gonna ask them
What
some
is this
questions, and we're gonna see if they
commercial?
can find a middle ground. Our first
There ain't no
question
middle ground,
is: should it be socially acceptable for men to wear skirts?
Of course.
Come
Bro, this is
forward
gonna
and
piss me
find your
off, bro.
speaker
I'm
for
just
this
listening,
issue.
I'm just listening. I just gotta listen.
All right. Me personally, I like fashion. I tried to dress nice today.
You did dress nice today.
Thank you. I'm wearing a woman's sweater right now. This is from Brandy Melville. But background, in my culture, like I'm Native Hawaiian, men have traditionally worn skirts. We go back to other cultures, Japan, long gowns.
This nigga would get killed in war. He's dead. He's dead. Nigga, bro, if I'm in another country, I'm looking at this with a smile on my face. The biggest smile, actually.
Traditionally,
I love
men
this.
have been seen in history to be wearing the same clothes that women do now, and
It's not
America is
skirts.
a much younger
It is-
society.
You're comparing
than
it, but no. They're not. No. In today's culture, a skirt, it's very colorful and goofy. It's not, bro. The men back in those times, they wore it. It wasn't called shorts because they didn't even have shorts invented. So it was basically shorts without the middle part. It wasn't. It did. Them niggas was warriors. They did. What are you talking about? A Hawaiian wasn't. Nigga, this nigga's trying to compare skirts today from skirts back then. It wasn't even really skirts. Was it even called a skirt?
any of these cultures that have
I'm not
dated
gonna
back thousands and thousands of years.
Okay, so first I'd like everyone to take a second and take a look at the fellas and what they're wearing over there. Let's be so real right now. How are they gonna argue about what fashion? Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
is supposed to
The fact that these dudes have an opinion, this whole video, I don't even want to.
mean in a manly
Why am
sense,
I
a
watching?
traditional sense.
It's the
Scotland and in India, they wear dhotis. They're not wearing skirts because they think they're a woman. Here in America, that's the reason that they're wearing skirts, is because they are trying to project that they are a female or the opposite sex or gender fluidity or any of that, and it's just nonsense. No,
Again, it
absolutely
depends.
not.
It depends on your intention. It depends on your culture. If your intention is to be feminine, right? Obviously, it's not right.
We don't live in, bro, right? I thought we were all about like the government not interrupting.
When it comes to just masculinity in general, like I'm in the camp of you provide for your wife, you protect her, you should be a pillar. Any sign of like wearing a skirt or something like that, like obviously, bro, like it's not the move.
This is kind of representative of a general idea of what a man is supposed to be in terms of how we dress, how we conduct ourselves in public. I think most men look at what a man is supposed to do, how we dress, how we conduct ourselves in public. I think most men look at what a man is supposed to dress like and look at that and see, well, now I have to justify the difference between that and me.
Clothing is not gendered. We make it gendered. Anything that we're wearing could be a woman's whatever. So we put titles on things, and I got a feeling nobody over there is gonna have any argument against any one of us.
Look at his mannerisms, bro. This whole video is rage bait. Look at his mannerisms. We know what he is. Look, it's all rage bait. It's literally rage bait. It's like rage bait.
The progressive men are going to say, it doesn't matter what you wear. You can wear any dress, you can wear a skirt, you can wear this. In the same vein, they would say, it doesn't matter what language you speak. It doesn't matter what religion you speak. And as traditional men, we disagree with that. We want to have a cohesive society that we speak similar things, we believe similar things, we have a sense of community in all of the things that we wear.
Bro,
what they're saying
didn't,
is actually the anti-social stance, where everybody does what they want and nobody has a sense of community. So we need to hit on that. Whoever speaks, not just about the skirt, because the skirt it's the detail, and that's unimportant.
We are rooted in some kind of greater faith that defines masculinity. The man as a role. He is under God. He is serving his family, and he is the creator of his.
This might be probably the smallest dude in the bunch with the most heart, lion heart. You hear how he's speaking real words.
The perpetuator of said values.
Yo, it's simple, bros.
Real words.
Skirts are for women. We should also talk about what does it look like if it's not socially acceptable. What does that mean? Point out how in practice, if it's not socially acceptable, that means we're shaming people, we're bullying people, we're excluding people, and I don't think anyone agrees that's a good thing.
Who wants to speak?
I agree that's a good thing.
I feel comfortable. We have to take it a vote. We want to know who wants to.
I'll speak.
Okay, all in favor? Juma?
Okay, go crazy, my dog.
Everyone for Riley. Who votes for Riley? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
It's the whole group. Why are you counting?
One and done.
It is Riley.
All right, both sides have chosen their speakers, so let's bring forward Juma and Riley. Should it be socially acceptable for men to wear skirts? You've got 8 minutes to find a middle ground between the two of you. Go for it.
Well, I believe that men can wear whatever they want, and pertaining to skirts, particularly, I am a native Hawaiian person. Traditionally in the culture that goes further back than America itself, men wear skirts. Japan, men wear long gowns.
It's not called a skirt though, specifically.
I know, but again,
I knew it wasn't called a skirt.
It's just different
Like,
cultural
I'm Muslim,
norms.
I wear a thobe sometimes.
Yes, but it's
Like
cultural
some cats in the
norms.
military, I've roomed with guys in the military, and they say like I had to shoot the dude in the dress. So it's like, nah, like, do I take it personal? No. That's just according to that group of people, that's what they call it.
It's not a skirt.
Right? Like, I wouldn't call a kilt a skirt.
Okay.
No, that's a cultural symbol. What a skirt means in today's society is different. But go ahead, I'm sorry for cutting you off.
I mean, yeah, like I was saying, traditionally, cultures that go further back, where clothing only has the meaning that we set to it.
Yeah, okay.
So, you know, if I someday decide that your skinnier pants are feminine because I got baggier pants, right?
Yeah.
Then I can do I get to ridicule
Skinny
you for
pants
that?
are
do I
feminine.
get to outcast you for that? That's just my question. Again, going back.
Is.
Why is it not?
Like to ask me?
Why is it not socially acceptable?
What it represents is that's femininity, yo. Like there's no question about it. Like if you're a dude walking around in a black leather skirt, like you're saying a lot. Like Jaden Smith is one of them cats that was on Vogue. Like like we've seen what a skirt represents as a man. At least in North American culture and even some Asian cultures. Like I've been to South Korea. There are a lot of hyper feminine men out there. The only thing that I didn't see in South Korea was cats putting on makeup in the mirror. But for some reason, whenever I go outside, I see hella cats wearing makeups, foundation, eyeliner, all that stuff.
So femininity is negative for men to express.
You see what this nigga just? Oh my goodness.
Like,
yeah, but is it okay to express feminine things? What do you think about my nail polish? What do you think about my skinny watch?
Me personally, bro, I ain't rocking like that.
Okay, that's cool. That's great. But I am. So is there anything wrong with that?
That's a feminine.
Oh no, but it's cool though. This world is a fallen world, and you will pay the debt. But here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. All of this wouldn't even be a conversation, right? Because listen, I don't even really know much information. But the reason why this wasn't able to fly so long ago, this wasn't going to fly, is because people would shame you for it, right? Men would bully you, possibly. I'm talking about way back. Before the 2000s, before the thousands. Like, bro, listen, bro, I'm sure they definitely killed you. Like, I'm sure you would die. Like, they would kill you. Like, none of that is cool. Go somewhere else. Don't even be on this earth, nigga. Go to another planet. Like, no, real talk. This is only accepted because of the higher ups, because of the elites. This is the only reason why this is accepted. This is the only reason why this is flying. Literally, that's the only reason why. That's it.
Maybe
it's not even about being accepted or nothing like that.
Now, like if we walk down the street, like I may interact with you a little bit differently just because like I see the fact that you're wearing nail polish.
You mean
What
why?
does that mean? Like,
well,
would you...
generally, bro, like whenever cats are like wearing nail polish, they're a little bit more hyper feminine.
Okay.
They may try to hit on you or just other stuff in general.
Okay.
So it's like.
So you're afraid. No,
I'm not afraid.
Even outward expression of femininity does not define sexuality. I mean, like, there's a lot of straight guys out there, a lot of, people who are in, like, emo punk scene wearing black nail polish for fun. People who wear lots of rings, completely straight, and it doesn't matter.
The representation, though, of what that means.
What does that mean, though?
So, like, a guy wearing, like, he's obviously counterculture, right? Like, if he's, like, the emo punk kind of guy. Also, like, borderline, like, devil worship at times.
Devil worship?
Yeah,
well,
like, nah.
I mean...
Well, come on, man. Come on, man. Come on. You don't believe in God? What are you talking about? What are you saying come on for? Is he not right? What do you mean?
Can be clearly associated with it with a pentagram. A skirt isn't indicative of what a masculine man should represent in today's society.
Why are you trying to ignore what it means?
A lot of over-feminization of a lot of guys. Like being a solid man that your wife can look to, or whoever that you're taking care of can look to and be like, yo, that's my pillar. Like if something going wrong in my life, they got me. And if you're walking around wearing a skirt, bro, like, okay, there might be cats that can walk around.
You're not intimidating.
You're not intimidating. Solid to the people that they can take care of, right?
Work with you.
But the exception isn't the rule. Most cats walking around in a skirt, bro, they're not super breaded up. They're just cats trying to express themselves sexually because they've given up on the financial part.
I mean, I feel like a lot of people who express feminine traits,
it's easier to be
from.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of people who express feminine traits, and have been, in the media for wearing skirts. Harry Styles is the biggest example. You think he's not breaded up? You think Young Thug is not breaded up? Like people like that.
Look at these
but
niggas.
At what cost though? Like now you're starting to tap into the fact of like, like it's pretty obvious and it's out in the open now that a lot of these rappers, a lot of these cats grabbing ankles. These same dudes that wear skirts are the same ones that were popping up at the Diddy parties. They holding hands with Diddy, calling him daddy.
I mean, again, this kind of just goes back to the argument that a lot of people try to push that
feminization.
That gay people are groomers
and then on top of that, bro, like I get it, bro. Like I get like it's a cool piece of clothing. Like my pops, he owned a fashion label. He did it in the 90s where he exclusively designed women's clothing out of Egyptian silk. I totally get it. From a fashion perspective for a woman, like bro, it's amazing. Like bro, I think a woman looks good in a maxi skirt. But I'm saying I don't think a dude should be walking around rocking that.
And I guess my question to you to dig deeper is, should this be, mandated? Should you, bully people who are wearing skirts?
Yes. It shouldn't be open, common practice being taught to kids like, hey, bro, go to school wearing a skirt. Like, I'll tell you right now, like the time me growing up in East Oakland, you go to school wearing a skirt, it's going to be rough for you.
I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you on that, but we should break down that stigma of people having to be scared of what they choose to wear. No,
you should be scared.
Like you said, I should be scared coming, to where you're saying wearing a skirt or feminine attire or accessories or anything like that.
Bro.
So should people have to fear for self-expression?
So I'll explain to you this, right? Like I was a shooting specialist at Banana Republic for almost 2 years, right? And like, dude, like I see a whole bunch of cats walk in there, different arrays, different budgets, you know what I'm saying? And I'm helping them get to where they gotta get. More than likely, man, like the cats that I saw wearing skirts, man, those ain't the kind of guys that like, the cat like me would want to rock with. Like the cats that I rock with, they're solid through and through. Like I'm a business owner. I'm also a professional fighter. So it's like, nah, bro, like just that kind of energy, it's not conducive for me to be around because I need to cultivate a certain kind of mindset, a certain kind of atmosphere around myself in order to achieve what I believe is peak to what I need to be.
Okay, so Riley, based on kind of what you're hearing coming from Juma, what do you think is a middle ground?
I think men should definitely, bro.
Both agree on.
What do you mean?
That you want him to agree on.
I would like for you to agree on that men should be able to express themselves. In fact, anybody should be able to express themselves however they want, skirt, nail polish, whatever, and that it should be.
We're focused on
skirt,
not the nail polish.
Men should be able to wear a skirt, and it can have a positive stigma around it if they so decide.
If culturally, they come from a culture. In Muslim tradition, right, there's this wrap that you can wrap
I'm not even talking about that.
Some people would call that a skirt. So, like, that kind of cultural thing, no problem. But we're talking about North American problems. We're not talking about every other place.
So what's the middle ground that you think?
The middle ground is culturally, if that's where your family is from, rep where your family from. Rep your culture, rep your set, whatever it is, right? But you as a man, if that's something that you want to do, bro, by all means, bro, just not that close to me, though. It's good.
Well, I disagree. I think that men should be able to express themselves however they want.
No, but it's cool. Like, you sitting here, okay, you think that? Okay, cool. Come around me in a skirt and see what happens. No, it's cool. Okay, you want to express yourself how you want to express yourself? Cool, that's lovely, that's handy dandy. Come around men. Come around actual men and see what happens to you. I promise you, you might keep that same opinion, but you ain't gonna come around niggas with skirts no more.
And
this nigga look like he should be in a band or something.
Especially
But what I'm hearing is, even if you don't agree that it should be, that you think it's socially acceptable,
And you pause
I have
too,
heard
bro.
you say that men should be allowed to wear skirts if that's how they want it. You know, if that's what they want to do.
If that's what bro wants to do, by all means. But I'm saying from like a cultural, religious perspective, it's not conducive to what a good nation trying to bring stronger individuals into the world should be doing.
See, there's like there's a background to this. It's not because you just don't like the clothes, right? What do you think? Like, I don't understand.
I never
that
said
you
I
think
didn't like
it
a
makes
skirt.
someone less of a man, less masculine, and that in turn makes them weaker for wearing a skirt.
In North American
is why
culture,
we
I
fight.
do not believe that it's acceptable for a man to wear a skirt.
I'm
not going to find a middle ground in between on that.
I'd like to propose that it's okay for a man to wear whatever he chooses.
Okay.
If that's what you believe, I respect you enough to agree with you on that part. But me personally, like you as an individual, if you want to do that, by all means, bro. But nah, not for North American
Something like
culture.
that.
It means something different here.
So is that you saying that that doesn't work as a middle ground statement?
No.
We're not going to find a middle ground.
Okay. I think we can leave
Men
it at
don't
that.
find middle
we gave it a
grounds.
good try. Shake hands and let's start.
I still respect you, though. Handle your business.
Look at these bro. Look at these niggas, bro. Look. It's like, why are they acting retarded? Look at this side. They look regular. They look calm, normal. Look at these dudes. Look. Just wear it. Look. It's so feminine. Look. And look at these dudes. Regular. Just clap it. Look. You can tell. Look at this nigga. Look how he's clapping. Look. You can just tell. I'm so glad God just gave us the ability to honestly, not easily, but easy enough to distinct the two.
We did not find a middle ground in that last prompt, but
Okay.
thank you to Juma and Riley for giving it a try. We're going to move on to our next prompt, which is, does society need more trad wives or girl bosses?
Who can define these terms?
Okay, so a girl boss is like a girl who like slaves the house. She's
I don't know if I can
independent,
watch
bro.
this whole
She's
thing.
like, she's her own boss. You know, she don't need a man.
Mind you, these niggas don't get no pussy.
Wife is what? Traditional.
Is like a woman who's like, I gotta cook and clean for my husband.
Girl boss doesn't necessarily mean going out and being a CEO or doing whatever. It's just an empowerment of doing what they want to do. Being able to choose that, you know, the best choice for that relationship is to stay at home and take care of a kid, whether that's the man or the woman or whoever in the partnership, or to go and work.
I don't care if she's traditional or trad. She's got to follow my program and my rule as a man. And what I'm saying is, she can go and be a boss at the job, but when she comes home, she's gonna take that shirt or hat off, and she's gonna follow my lead and follow what I have to say.
Now, see, I don't think she should do that.
I'm the man.
I don't
She's
think she
got
should
my
do
name.
that.
She's
Like,
got
bro,
my ring.
what do you want to say?
She's under
to
my
that?
rule.
Of course. As far as the traditional wives, I mean, my wife kind of fits that mold. She does work from home, but I was in the military for over a decade, and so I was the sole provider, and she would stay at home and raise her kids, and that's just really worked for us.
This is why it's hard for me to get into conversations like this, is because, like, bro, first of all, 9 times out of 10, I'm physically stronger than the person I'm talking to. So back in the day, when it came down to a dispute, bro, I agree with this. Oh no, I agree with this. Okay, let's fight. I win. I agree. Like, what? It's all this complicated bro, nobody don't got time for none of this. Nobody got time for none. I'm not even condoning fighting for real. It's just, bro, life is so, a man is simple. Nobody don't got time for none of this. I don't got, like, what is with the time with all
I
of
also have a
this?
16-year-old daughter that I'm also raising to be a traditional wife one day.
Can we get a show of hands?
It's all good though. When them trumpets go off, all this gonna die. All this gonna die down. Oh, don't worry, bro. It's coming. It's over. You're not critically listening. It's over, my nigga. You're done. I don't know who you are, but
These are folks
bro,
who
you know who you are.
think they're a good fit for this.
1, 2, 3.
A lot of times, whether a woman should be a stay-at-home wife or whether she can like work and do other things in society is kind of a cloaked sexist argument. And so I think that whether or not a man,
these type of people are the reason why our society is in shambles, crumbling, and yo, man. Listen, bro.
Or a woman in a relationship, who's the stay-at-home parent, who's working, should be a function of the individuals and should not be a function of us doing these gender role-based prescriptions.
I'm caught between him and him.
Denzel?
But the most important question for me is, are you paying all the bills for your home?
The girl bosses have been detrimental to society and how trad wives have actually helped build the family and through homemaking raise up the kids instead of them going out to the public school system or being raised by strangers because the girl bosses were too busy working to care about their kids.
Traditional wives is outdated. We find that women who have leadership roles do have higher success, arguably, than men because they get people to work together better, I feel.
What are you
men,
talking
it's about competition.
In modern society, most physicians are women, most lawyers in America are women, the most educated people out of men and women are women. They attend school at higher rates, they graduate at higher rates.
The capability women have to raise children, the innate ability that my mother has, the connection she has with me, is something that is very important. And I feel like girl bosses lack that.
If you're gonna say that the woman's duty is to serve the man, say it just as much conviction that it's the man's job to serve the woman.
Isn't the question we need more trad wives versus girl boss? Like that's the question, right? And so I would advocate for that.
We gotta vote. Let's just vote.
How much time? I vote Anthony. Short. Anthony.
Raise your hand for Anthony. Steve, vote for Steve? 1, 2, 3.
I'm gonna vote for myself.
Well, all right. Well, I'm gonna assume everybody's voting for themselves. Votes for Jay. 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, there we go. It's yours.
All right, both sides have chosen a speaker to debate this prompt. So let's bring forward Anthony and Greg. Greg, Anthony, the question was, does society need more trad wives or girl bosses? I'll let you take it from here.
I definitely think that society needs more trad wives. Putting women in the workplace is actually a failed feminist movement, which minimized wages for men, and then it gave the government free control over the children, right, through a public education system. And I think that that's also why we have a lack of masculinity in society. So.
Okay. Yeah. So there's 3 claims there. There was the government controlling the children.
That's not what I said.
And then the wages being stolen from men.
I didn't say it was stolen.
Oh, sorry. How did you phrase it?
No, you said it was like minimizing wages for men.
Minimizing. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Causing an impact on men. And then what was the first one?
It was moving women to the workplace.
Moving women. Okay. Yeah. So there is no statistically significant difference between the cognitive abilities.
I knock you out and your jaw's broke, and the conversation is over. I don't condone fighting. I'm just letting you know. I'm just giving you a reality check, really. I'm not condoning fighting. I'm just giving you reality. In GTA, right?
Of men and women. You can obviously find an outlier study or two that says something else.
Sure.
And so
that's not what we're debating, though.
Well, no, but I'm building to my point.
Okay.
Yeah. So in that context, I think we should have a society that empowers men and women equally to pursue whatever works best for them and in their relationship. Like, for example, we have friends who are married, man and woman, and they are both in healthcare, and they both take turns working. Like, dad will work one day, mom will work the other day. And I think it's awesome if we have career opportunities. We have things like, affordable childcare, paid family leave, anything in society that supports people to make the decision that works best for their family, I think is positive. And I think if we...
And these niggas would probably argue that this is a beautiful, lavishing, great world we live in, and there's nothing wrong, and everything's all peachy, and change is coming, and everything is getting better. Look at this dude. He wouldn't last a second in war, in anything. If something happened, bro, if I was on the...
We had...
Oh my goodness, I might need to leave, or I might need to go to another country. Because, bro, bro, if I need to fight for my people and I see him coming towards me, oh yes, this is excellent. Yes, thank the Lord. Yes.
Better options for people to pursue what works for them individually. We would have, as the prompt described it, more girl bosses.
But I think your argument is that if only we were to put women in workplaces, which no one's debating that they shouldn't be, the question is not should we restrict women from doing it? It should be should we have more trad wives, right? And so my argument is that there are studies that show that having, and I can speak personally, I've been married for close to 20 years. I was in the military for a little bit over a decade. I worked, I provided. That's worked for me. That's worked for my parents. That's worked for my grandparents. That's why we're traditional. We carry down these traditions from family to family. And so we see that our children are thriving. I see that my children have a mother at home that loves them and is able to be with them for their school events or for sporting, things like that. And it's worked for us. So, the question is, do we need more girl bosses? Do we need more women away from their children? And I just don't think that that's what we need more of.
So why?
Okay,
so if the woman is away,
I hate this, bro. I don't like this dude, bro. I don't like him.
It's just one parent's at home and one parent's at work, right? That's kind of what we're describing. It's just, so what is the issue with a man being the stay-at-home parent?
Well, I just don't think that's the role of a man. Here's the reality. My wife and I both work from home. I'm out in the field a lot because I'm an independent journalist, so I do travel a lot more for work.
Right.
But we both work from home, and that's actually great too. Because then I also get to partake in a lot of the things that we do. So if like my kid has a sporting event 2 p.m., I'm not stuck in the office. I'm able to do that.
These niggas hate
but
Andrew Tate.
Going back in where I was deployed for months at a time and having my wife stay at home, I think that it would have been detrimental that not only do my kids have a deployed parent.
If they were able to kill him, if they were strong enough, personally, they wouldn't even be strong enough in combat. Like, they have no pull. They gotta jump him. I don't even think they would be able to jump him.
They also have a mother that's stuck at work.
I'm not glazing. I'm just saying.
Well, I think that you're I think we're not necessarily disagreeing there. So what you're describing is, in your situation, it made the most sense to have your wife be a trad wife, right? I'm a millennial and I feel silly saying trad wife. It's not my verbiage. Yeah. Would you agree that it makes sense for us to have those cases where it might make more sense for there to be a girl boss to allowed to happen? Do you get what I'm trying to say?
I'm sure.
I think what your argument is that we probably live in a society where women also have to work. And so what I'm saying is, yes, I have a personal bias of why my wife should stay at home, but also there's studies to show that women that tend to stay at home with children tend to have a happier family. They tend to be able to have less divorce rates, for example, as opposed to two people that are usually always at work and they rarely see each other. They rarely spend time with their kids. There's also some studies that show that kids do better in the long run when they have a parent that stays at home, for example.
What's interesting is regarding studies on stay-at-home parenting, on the census, an at-home dad is defined as somebody who has not been in the workforce and not made money over the past 52-week period, over the past year. And so when you look at studies of stay-at-home dads, you miss out on things like, as you mentioned, people who do remote work or people who work part-time. And so I am not as confident as you are in the sort of evidence base for this claim that, stay-at-home dads are somehow detrimental compared to stay-at-home moms. I believe it was the American Psychological Association put out a statement on this where they said that as long as it's a stable, loving household, that's the most, that's kind of the highest.
There are doctors that prescribe that whacking off is healthy. Brother, look. You're doing all this research on this stuff that isn't important. You need to be doing research on the closest gym near you.
Bar you have, but so
I'm just gonna
cut
pause
him
because we're
off.
out of time. So I want to push you both towards offering a statement that you think both of you would agree on regarding trad wives and girl bosses.
Would you agree that in a circumstance where it makes the most sense for that family to have a girl boss, we should facilitate that?
Temporarily.
I don't agree with that just because what you're almost claiming is that the family can only be successful if the woman is a girl boss.
Oh, no, that's not what I meant to claim at all. I must have so I'm just trying to say, should we look at people as individuals and look at individual circumstances and then have people do what makes the most sense for their individual circumstances instead of making these broad kind of gender-based prescriptions where it's like, you are a woman, so you should do this, you are a man, or as you do in your own life. It sounds like your situation is not exactly a traditional situation because you are considering your personal circumstances, your personal strengths.
But also studies back that, right? So that's what I was saying, less divorce rates. And then if you want to get into like the intricacies, like, a family that goes to a church every single week has a 50% less chance of getting divorced, right? So it's just a little, I guess, difficult to come to the realization of like, it's only if a girl boss was there, right? Because I mean, that is that question after us. Should we have more girl bosses? Not should we allow women to work, which is all part of lawful, way of doing things. So I guess I'm just kind of having a hard time with that middle ground.
Yeah, what would yours be?
I think the conversation I've had with a lot of people, progressive men, is that they think that traditional men are just strictly against women working, period. And that's just not my view. I think that the rights are there. My wife works, right? But she works from home, and it doesn't really interrupt the household,
I think I have an idea. So what about we should make it easier for a family to have a girl boss if that works good for the family? Does that make sense?
Why would it work good for the family?
Let's flip it and let's make society easier so that the male can work and provide for his family on just a sole income without having
No, we can't do that because you see, I can't get a girl. You see, I see me, I'm fat, chubby, and my posture's messed up, as you can tell. I can't get a girl, and I don't want to change because that's difficult. I don't want to do that. So no, I can't agree with you, buddy. You know what I'm saying? I can't agree with that. You know what I'm saying? I want life to be easier for me. Simple like that. You understand me?
Put two working parents and send their children off.
Nope.
You know what encompasses both of those?
Sure.
So what I'm hearing is that we both have different ideas about what works best for a family. So maybe a middle ground statement would be, we should structure society in terms of our policies, our safety nets, things like that. So whatever works best for a family.
Girl power. How you defending women? You can't bag them. This is hilarious, bro. It's everything within this guy is a whole contradiction. Everything is a contradiction. Look.
Whether that's a trad wife or a girl boss in the household.
Let's empower families to do what's best for them.
Yeah.
It's a little soft. I think we need to address, like the role of women, which is what this prompt is saying.
Hearing all 7 minutes of you, it's just, I wasn't convinced of like why we need girl bosses, right?
Right.
I listened to statistics.
That's why we make individual
decisions.
Decisions. I'm not convinced of anything about your life, but
sure.
I think
even though studies show like it's better for the household.
So my opinion is that we should trust 2 adult people to make a decision about what
That's just very nuanced, though. It can mean anything, right? Oh, we should allow 2 parents to just do drugs all day because it's better for them.
Okay.
So it's just too nuanced. What I would say is we can live in a society where I guess girl bosses can thrive legally and trad wives can also thrive legally. I just think a girl boss can already thrive. It's harder for a woman
a godly man versus a devilly man
to become a trad wife than it is for a woman in today's day and age with the current policies to become a girl boss.
Literally, I promise you, this conversation is so useless. He could.
Well, what is a version of it you would be able to agree with?
That we need more trad wives.
You're not giving us anything, Anthony.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry.
I'm working pretty hard here.
I think we'll just have to. We didn't find a middle ground statement for this one.
Yeah. We didn't come to an agreement, but I like your facial hair.
Thank you. Okay. I like your groove.
All right. Nice to meet you, man.
Very nice to meet you.
Yeah. And thanks for your service.
Why would I take an opinion from you? Look at how he's wobbling back to the seat. This world. Weak.
Hey, before we go any further, we want to take a moment to say thank you. Plus, the work that are
Thank you, Anthony. We didn't find a middle ground in that question, but we're going to move on to our next question, which is, are depressed men weak?
Oh, no.
I would Definitely say that depressed men are weak.
Yo, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I don't want to hear this. Like, I really don't want to hear this part.
Depression, anxiety disorder.
Like, when they do all
I
this,
gave up on life. I didn't want to live, and that's because I was weak. Coming out of that, I'm stronger than ever before.
Bless you for that, brother. You got through that. But what I'm saying is, ultimately, the depression part of it is a weak mindset.
Right, yeah.
So that is weak.
Like when your family member dies, like you
Yeah,
definitely have
you should
times,
be sad,
but like you
right.
shouldn't like label yourself as I'm a
yes, it's tied. But yeah, depressed people are just. I have depression. You're giving yourself a symptom. No, you weak link. You. I promise you, if you was getting chased by a tiger or a lion, all that depression shit falling out the window, you gonna man up real quick. And I don't care about none of that.
Like I'm going through like a sad state right now. Like it's tough times,
man.
but you
I've
gotta
been sad
pull through
before.
it, and that's what we all agree on. I think we all is that being strong means coming out of that,
Right.
And not like because like killing yourself is the weakest shit to do.
That type of sentiment saying that like men who have depression are weak leads to men killing themselves. So I want to push back against that. There are so many studies that show that men who hold those types of views are more than 2 times as likely to kill themselves. So
niggas is weak.
Like I am like okay, well, I mean we'll give it. Well,
Who
we'll
else
give
wants
options.
to? Both sides will agree. Yes, being depressed is weak, but they're going to say it's okay to be weak, and I think that we should say it's not okay to be weak because as men, as a traditional men, it's our job to be.
Of course, they're gonna say it's okay to be weak. They're weak.
Strong, even when we.
A person in the system will do anything in their power to defend it. Simple, clear cut is as plain as that, bro. These people are not real. The progressive men are NPCs designed to just make shit a bit difficult.
Feel weak.
I don't agree with that.
That needs to be said. Anyway, I think we should.
I don't agree with that at all. I am a gay man, and my experiences within the gay community and the depression that I've gone through is a completely different perspective from a straight perspective. But my ability to fight through that and to stand and the things that I've overcome have made me really strong.
I've struggled with depression myself. I have ADHD, I'm neurodivergent, and that does predispose you to depression, anxiety, and other things. Despite that, I don't feel weak. I was a former top cop. I was the youngest cop in my state. I teach women how to beat up dirtbag men. So I don't feel weak despite having those struggles with depression and anxiety.
It causes men to have this complex that if they aren't enough for their family, if they're not enough for themselves, then who are they going to be enough for? Why are they even here?
If you let your depression win, you're weak. So you could be depressed, but you still go through life. Like if you're just laying in bed all day, then yeah, I would say you're probably weak.
Bro, for a second, I thought my shit was glitching.
Coming from like a biblical standpoint,
Shout out to
it
you, bro,
says
because
it's a
if you was on the
righteous
other
man falls
side, this
7
would be a
times, but he gets
very
back up. You
different
will fall,
reaction.
and so that's okay, but get back up. So yeah, that's
There
what I would
goes.
say.
This nigga's more man than all the progressives put together.
Two different ways to argue this. I think that we have one who studied it, is very intellectual about it, and is very passionate about this case. And we have another study where this person is traditionally gone through a lot of masculine things. So showing that.
But look, the producer ain't even really trying to handle that shit, bro. He's not trying to hear this
I think that we
goofball
have one who studied it, is
tomfoolery.
very intellectual about it, and is very
He came up to him, he heard him. He said,
passionate about
no,
this case.
man,
And we have another
damn, I
study
gotta
where
go over here. I got to. Damn it, it's part of the job.
This person is traditionally gone through a lot of masculine things, so showing their
I'll
masculinity and very much so gives that example of depression does not make you weak.
Chad, raise your hand. Oliver? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, sounds like we have a clear winner. All right. We're still working it out. We're so good at this. Thank you. If only we could win elections like this.
All right, both sides have selected their speakers, so let's bring forward Alex and Oliver.
Shout out Alex. Oh yeah, lock in, boy.
So the question is, are depressed men weak?
I don't feel sorry for you. Listen, I feel bad for your disability, but I don't feel sorry. You need to speak up. Tell them what needs to be heard. Your voice is capable.
Let me let
Nothing
you
wrong
guys
with
see
your
if we
voice.
can come to a
Talk.
middle ground statement. You've got
Come
8
on,
minutes.
Alex.
Go for it.
I'll let you go.
Okay, sure, yeah. So, I'm coming from the perspective that I don't think that depressed men are weak. I think that depression is something that needs to be taken very seriously. And I think that statements like depressed men are weak are exactly the kind of rhetoric that perpetuates the problem, that leads to people being stuck, including myself, experienced with depression, being stuck in this type of rut that you can't get out of. And the moment that I kind of like acknowledged to myself what other people were telling me, but I was really like, oh my God, am I a weak man? Am I, somehow lacking in some sort of way? The moment I, put that aside and just was like, no, depression is a mental illness. Once I, got past that and, got the help that I needed, it was really the moment that I started to emerge from that. So I think that that type of statement is part of the problem and something that I want to push back
Okay,
against.
but what you would say is staying in a state of depression, I would consider that weak, right? Depression in and of itself isn't weak, but when you label yourself as a depressed person or you let that win you over, that is weakness.
So I would disagree because I think it's important to define problems as what they are. We don't solve cancer by not calling it cancer.
Now you're comparing cancer. You're comparing cancer to something that. This is an emotion we're talking about here. Depression is an emotion. He's comparing something that kills the cells to an emotion. Now, bro,
that a problem exists and how we respond to that is very important. But I don't think saying we shouldn't call people depressed because then they'll know that they're depressed or that they'll rot in that sort of state.
No, but I'm saying like labeling yourself as a depressed person, like saying that is part of my identity. If an athlete is injured in that second, I think he's weaker than he normally is. That doesn't mean he's weak overall, but in that second, yeah.
Is it weak to say that he's injured? Is it weak for him to claim, I am currently injured? I want to get better, but I'm currently injured.
No, but he's weaker.
For sure, people are definitely in a weaker headspace. Right. But I think, and maybe I'm putting these like prescriptions onto this idea that aren't correct. So when I hear the claim, men who are depressed are weak, I think of, oh, they're less manly. They need to get over it. They need to power through and grit. And it's I heard this from someone who was over there from your side. It's a weak mindset. It's a choice type of thing. And I reject that because it is a clinical diagnosis that people receive when they are depressed.
We all go through states of depression. I think no one here would argue that you're never going to be in a state of depression, right? Things happen where you do feel depressed.
There's depression and then there's people who describe themselves as being depressed. I think it's important to separate those two because you can feel sad. Of course, everyone feels sad.
Look at this nigga, bro. And this is why, bro.
Everyone has mood changes. Depression is clearly defined as persistent, like feeling bad regardless of the things that are going on in your life, even when things are going well.
Right, but
yes, bro. Like, Nick, what are you talking about? There's been streaks where motherfuckers have been in a terrible mood day in and day out. You still gotta fight through it. I'm not gonna say I'm depressed. I have a depression problem. I need to take pills for depression and everything like that. Listen, y'all, let me ask with you. Bro, don't ignore people like this, bro. Ignore people like this, bro, because they're literally only here to make things complicated. People like this are here to just make simple things complicated. That's it. They're literally NPCs designed. I mean, these are literally, bro. This is all meant to happen, bro. It's all meant to happen.
Because I'm weaker. Right?
Sure, he's so confident in his belief system.
A squirrel could beat me in an arm wrestling match, right? I don't think anyone here would say I'm less of a man.
Sure.
Right?
Oh, and I'm glad that those connotations are not present in this conversation.
But my stance is you gotta keep on moving. Like you just have to, and you might have to take medication. Mm-hmm. I'm not against it. I'm pretty sure some people on my side are gonna be against taking medication. But
I'm glad they're not up here.
The nigga is condoning pills and potions instead of an organic way to fix problems. Pills don't. Man. Oh. Goodness,
you have to do
I couldn't be up there with this nigga, Bobby rated. Bro, I couldn't be up
I
there
feel
with a dude like this. I wouldn't be in this video.
It's okay. They say that it's okay to rot in it.
I really don't think that's largely the case. I think it definitely is in some subsets of the internet that you'll find. But I think most people, I think the way we treat mental illness is it's really hard for us to grapple with it because it's not visual. There's this idea that when you break your arm, everyone comes to sign your cast. But when you say you're depressed, they don't know what to do and run the other direction. And I think it's really important to break that type of stigma that mental illness is a real thing. I'm not sure. I don't want to speculate. I'm sure there are some people who don't really think it's a real thing. Oh, you just need to get over yourself. You need to work harder. Back in my day, we just just said that we were, sad and we pushed through.
Well, we see it in TV. So we see it all the time, all over the place, where it's like, hey, I can't get up out of bed today. Oh, you know what? Mental health day. I don't disagree. But I think we are, as a society, letting that be a norm and letting that be okay, which I don't think it should be necessarily all the time. Because there's times where you have to get something done, and you can't just say like, hey, I'm gonna take a mental health day. Parents, I'm not a parent, but I'm pretty sure parents are here. They are depressed. They have to care for their kids.
Yes, and I think you and I would both agree that like, it's irresponsible if you're a parent or something of that nature to neglect your responsibilities because of mental illness. However, I do think it's very much the case that mental illness can be debilitating, can be crippling.
So weakness.
Yeah. Well, I guess
So
fine.
weak,
Okay, fine.
yeah.
Sure. Then you're defining weakness in such a way that it has no connotation behind it. If you want to say someone who is depressed is in a weaker mental state because they're not able to function as well, then I guess we agree. But that doesn't really get to any of the societal implications where there might be some disagreement between you and me as a traditional
And I think we've done that, but I think
man.
we could agree that depression is weakness.
Okay, so I would agree with your literal statement. The problem is there are a lot of connotations. When you say something's weak, it's like, oh, it should be looked down upon. That person is doing something that...
No, because I'm weak, so I don't want to be looked down upon.
I agree, and I'm very glad. But I think if someone were to like look at you, oh yeah, you're weak. That would be, but it wouldn't just be a literal factual statement about the nature of the world as it exists. It would be a normative judgment upon you as a person. In many cases, if someone calls disabled people weak, would you just be like, yeah, we are? Or would you be like, you're kind of an asshole, man?
It depends a lot on context. I agree with you, but well, then we would have to take everyone's opinion on it and stuff like that.
Just we're up on time, so I want to push you guys towards offering a middle ground statement.
Yeah.
And just to reiterate the question, it was, are depressed men weak?
I'll let you.
Sure. So here's, I guess, and this is why I would say I don't want to use the word weak. The use of the word men in the phrase makes it very gendered. If it was just, are depressed people weak, then maybe I'd give a little more credence to this idea that we're just talking about descriptively what is factually the case. But I think when you insert men in there, there's this idea that depressed men are weak because men shouldn't be weak. Men shouldn't be burdened by their emotions or burdened by illness of the mind. It's just, something they have to power through. So because of that, here's the middle ground that I guess I would propose to you, and you're welcome to respond to me on this. Depression does not inherently make someone weak. Men are not inherently weak because they're depressed. However, if you let that consume you entirely and you shackle other responsibilities, or you claim that you have no responsibility for your own mental illness, oh yeah, I'm mentally ill, therefore I can tweet anti-Semitic things all over the internet. I'm not talking about anyone in particular.
That's real.
But so sorry about that. But regardless, so that's kind of the middle ground I would propose. I don't know if that's too long, but.
Okay, can we agree on the middle ground that if you're a man and you allow your depression to win you over, then you're weak?
I allow you to win you over. I think there's a lot of different things that are going on there. I also would kind of want to, if possible, degender that idea. If anyone...
We're on a gendered episode,
we are. You're right. You're right that we are. You are correct that we are. However, I think it is true because men exist, and because men exist, women also exist. Women don't just not exist because we all happen to be in a room with very few
but we're
of them.
not talking about women in this instance.
I don't think that's necessarily the case because we live in a society that is inherently gendered. So
I agree with you,
okay.
But this episode...
Of course.
Okay, so Alex, what would your statement be if you want to give us a draft?
A middle ground, I would say, if you succumb to your depression, then you are weak. If you allow your depression to take over your life and you don't seek help and you kind of just use it as an excuse for your life or for your poor choices, and I would say that's weak.
And I have one more question for you. A lot of men who succumb to their depression are ones who end up with a bullet in their head. Are they weak in your mind?
I would say so, yes.
You'd say they're weak. Men who kill themselves because of their depression are weak.
Yes.
And I think that exact idea is what leads more men to kill themselves.
Well, so I don't, all right. There's a strong disagreement there, and there's a lot to discuss there. But let's try and make our way back to what do you think is something that he would agree on. So he said, letting depression take over your life is not a good solution. So do you have like a counter?
Do you think it makes I'm just curious. Do you think it makes a man weak to seek medical remedies or to seek out treatment in that way?
I'm in a wheelchair right now. I have to see a doctor every 3 months.
Okay. I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
If the pills are helping you in that, then yeah, go for it. If you need to get out of the woods, seek Christ, whatever it is that you need to do.
Okay.
Do that.
Yeah, I don't think I really disagree with any part of that.
Okay, so it sounds like we're landing on if a man is depressed, he should seek treatment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Men who are depressed should seek treatment.
Men should seek treatment.
Awesome.
All right.
That treatment could be the gym. It doesn't have to be. What is professional help?
Thank you to Alex and Oliver. We did come
How
to a
long
middle
do we
ground
have to
statement
go, bro?
for
This
that.
is like torture.
That last prompt. Moving on to our next prompt. Should men spend their time watching porn?
I swear
All
on
right,
everything
let's
I
get you
love,
guys
on
up in the-
everything I love, demonic, bro, this is the most demonic topic. Prawn has single-handedly, I'm talking about, Prawn came in like Thanos, fine, I'll do it myself, and wiped the nation. I'm victim of it myself, man. It's amazing how night and day it is. The confidence that comes from your semen. It's amazing, which even makes it more demonic. Let's see what the progressive people have to say about this.
In the center.
Let's see. Oh, what a surprise.
Unhealthy practice, and
Unhealthy
as someone
is
who
not
is a
even the
healthy
word.
human being and can make observations with his eyes, understands
the
that this
fuck?
is not neurologically beneficial, so maybe I don't even know why it's political. I think everyone's going to agree on this.
So I think the worst part about it is breaking down the relationship between men and women, making sex something that is
Sexualizing
cheap and carnal
everything.
and not something that's
Like it clouds everything. Your day to day is so cloudy. It's amazing when your energy, your life force is within. It calms everything down. You would think you would be going crazy. No. Everything is quiet. Especially when you get around the opposite sex. It's quiet.
spiritual and deep and something that exists on a higher level than just physical.
Nah, I don't care what
That's the
y'all
other
saying.
thing.
I already
think
know
that
what
they'll
y'all-
probably
what
argue
are the
that
progressive
it's
people
just
saying?
sex and it's just, you know, it's just
No, all right, go
it's just
to the
something that
other
you do.
side.
It's,
I wanna hear this.
It's something primal. We just do it. But it's not.
Who on the progressive side is leaning, thinks that porn is a negative?
Yeah, it depends on the individual.
And then who thinks it's a positive?
It depends on the individual. Always want. I used to be like this. I used to be like this.
Go with my hands up.
Okay, so there's actually a little bit of a split here.
I don't think it's either one.
Yeah, like it's one of those things where it's like, it is a form of expression if the two people are consenting adults that are being paid in a healthy, appropriate environment. Go ahead.
Oh, bro. We should talk about, like, God. Like, we should see, like, do they believe in God? Like, what they believe in? I just want to know.
Make all the porn you want. In a grander sense, it's a moral panic that men are constantly obsessed with pornography. There's a small segment of the male population that has that problem, like any other small segment of the population that's addicted to something. This is a larger...
Now you're comparing just to try to downplay the problem. You watch porn, by the way. I know you watch porn. Brother, I can already tell. And I know niggas gonna say in the comment, nigga, yeah, nigga, I bet you can't tell. You know what it look like. No, I'm just saying, like, bro, it's just, hey, bro.
extent of the moral panic of men losing their quote-unquote masculinity. It's a non-subject. Some people are going to watch porn. They will be corrected by their friends and family as they move through society and seen.
Shouldn't watch it, but it shouldn't be illegal too.
Okay, what? Who said that?
No.
That's not the prop. Let's not even get
Yeah, that's not the prop.
If you're spending all your time not working, not actually being with your kids, you're just watching porn, you're kind of a piece of garbage dad, right?
Porn is an anathema to actual tradition. You can't be a traditional man if you are watching porn.
I agree.
Porn also just poisons the soul of a man, and it's just absolutely degenerate. It
Clouds
has
the
no
mind.
place in
It's
society.
literally-
There's
bro,
no
it's
benefit
literally a
to
nuke.
it.
It projects a fantasy onto women. I think there's unrealistic expectations. Men are not going to get the right idea of how sex should be done, consent, lube.
Where we're going to disagree and where we're going to clash is that they want to ban it, and I am going to stand by us and our First Amendment rights to allow pornography.
John.
What would you say in the argument that they're going to present probably, which is it's not hurting anyone, it's only for my good, and it's
It pisses me off, but at the same time it doesn't, because it's like, people that are like him, niggas that are pause, where do they get the manual for the pause? Like, okay, I'm paused now, so let me just open a manual to learn how to fully be paused. Like, how do they all have the same mannerisms? Is that just a God-given gift as far as like straight men to weed out the shit? To weed it out? excuse my language, Lord, to weed it out because they all sound the same. I go to an IHOP, and sometimes I go to an IHOP to pick up orders. Bro, it's a dude. He sounds like, they all sound the same. They all sound the same. All of them. It's like, I mean, I'm not complaining because it's a good indicator. It lets me know. But it's like, bro, like, why do you sound like that?
Only to the people who are going to actually speak.
We all agree that we live in a spiritual world. There's a spiritual reality. It degrades
It's
women.
a
It
warfare.
degrades men. It's degrading to everybody. It does perpetuate violence. So it is damaging people. I would never buy that argument, right?
All right, raise your hand for Ben.
All right, both sides have chosen their speakers for this question. So let's bring forward Ben and John.
One gets pussy and one doesn't.
Hi, Ben. What's up? Not much, buddy. How are you?
Please go ahead, because I have a feeling that you know where we all stand on this one. So
I don't think anyone should be watching pornography. Yeah, look, I don't think you should mandate what people are watching. That said, if it is two individuals that are both consenting, that are well paid, that feel completely comfortable participating in the filming of sex in exchange for money, then please have at it, as long as it falls under the definition of pornography as set by the Supreme Court of the United States. By definition, it is, by the way, something that you see and know that it is porn. So if we're saying that, yes, porn should exist, I don't think you should watch it because it is incredibly bad for you in the same way that you really...
I don't think you should watch it because I think it's extremely bad for you, but because I need to keep this image of progressive, because if I lean away from it too much, my saucy boys over there are going to kind of neglect me. I'm going to say you shouldn't make it illegal, but you definitely shouldn't watch it. Cool. I think I got it. I get where he's coming from.
You shouldn't smoke pot, or you shouldn't smoke cigarettes, or you shouldn't eat
so you're
fried food.
comparing that to a cigar, a cigarette, a fried food. You're comparing porn to that. Good shit. You know what I noticed about the progressive people? They downplay the most biggest problems and compare it to small problems. A nigga smoking a cigarette. A nigga eating a cheesesteak. You're comparing porn to a steakums. Oh my goodness,
all of those things
I
are
can't
also
breathe.
very bad for you, both on a cognitive level and also spiritually.
Well, so I think you're agreeing with me. Ultimately,
Well,
you're
you
saying
don't
men
believe in none of
shouldn't
that.
be spending their time watching porn.
Absolutely.
But you don't think that it should be illegal, right?
What type of contradiction?
And while I might think that maybe it should be, right, that's not what I'm going to argue here. I'll argue that porn is destructive to men and women.
Completely
it's destructive to anybody involved in the sphere. What other things could be doing as a man? Hang on.
Okay, great.
What other things could you be doing as a man that porn takes away from? You could be working. You could be taking care of your kids. I think every man's goal should be to create a productive relationship with his wife so that he can have a productive relationship with his children and a stable family unit. Porn completely gets in the way of all of that.
I completely agree. Porn does get in the way of interpersonal relationships. That's it. Just wanted to call you up and not to be a prick, but I'm going to be a prick. You said porn is harmful to everyone involved. How is porn?
I mean the people involved in the actual action of either the doing the sex or the watching it.
So you're against sex work? That should be illegal. You're against the filming of it, all that sort of stuff. You're against.
Yeah, I mean, look at what it does.
You're against the Supreme Court's interpretation of the First Amendment. Just to be clear, that's correct.
Well, I'm against certain types of speech. I mean, the Supreme Court also said you can't see.
It's no such thing as freedom of speech when you get canceled. And bro, there's content. Bro, I don't care how much of freedom you have of speech. We don't, bro. What is truly freedom? Because we know what happens when you give humans freedom, bro. Freedom of speech. You can talk. Okay, cool. Go to the hood and say something crazy. Hey, a white guy, this guy, go to the hood and say nigga. Oh, freedom of speech, First Amendment. All right, my dog. You said First Amendment, you said freedom of speech. Yeah, pull up over here. Let me have a talk with you. Let me have a conversation with you. You said what? Huss.
Clear, that's correct.
Well, I'm against certain types of speech. I mean, the Supreme Court also said you can't say certain things.
But the Supreme Court has actually weighed in on this issue.
See, he's safe. That's why he's talking like this. He's safe, but I could, bro, these type of niggas, bro, I'm telling you, they're very protected. These weak men are very protected. They're protected, boy. They are very protected.
The Supreme Court says Porn is a legitimate expression of speech. Partake in it whether or not you want to.
Hey, the Supreme Court gets stuff wrong all the time, doesn't it?
I completely
There was a
agree.
time when they said, hey, black people not very important, right?
Totally,
And
and
so
they
we can
corrected
agree
it.
that they're not always right. I think you and I can agree that porn's not the kind of thing that people should be spending their time in.
I completely agree.
Millions
So what do
and
you mean
millions of men are spending their time in it, and we see what happens from it. It creates an economy where women are being exploited, right?
In certain cases, yes.
I mean, if you can make money from it, okay, cool. But you know how many women are like, well, I could just make a
understand, but
quick
let me
buck
just
on
explain.
OnlyFans, so I
I'm
might
sorry
as
to
well
interrupt.
do
I'm
it.
just
They
sorry
don't
to
want
interrupt.
to be doing it, most of the time.
I agree.
What you about to,
Some
what
of
you
the
about to
people involved in
explode?
OnlyFans do not want to participate. Let's use the example of Andrew Tate and all of his webcam girls. Those webcam girls were not participating.
Bro, I swear on everything I love, I knew at some point Andrew Tate's name was gonna pop up in this. They don't like Andrew Tate. Hey, forget about all the good he's doing. Y'all don't even like traditional men. Y'all don't like strong men. Y'all like weak men. So everything he's doing is niggas think that everything Andrew Tate is doing in society is harmful to man. Do you understand that in our own country, we're going to war against one another in this type of way? It's not even like a good war. It's not even fighting or anything. We're going to war about who should wear a skirt and who shouldn't. God, please come back.
For their will. They were captured in some way. They were ensnared by the lover boy model. So that type of porn, very, very bad. But someone in their bedroom, as a consenting adult, selling images of themselves is totally fine and is protected under the First Amendment.
It's contradicting what you're saying, because you're basically saying you shouldn't buy them, but they should also be able to post it. You shouldn't watch it, but they should be able to post it.
Again, brother, I don't understand what your point is. You're going, porn is stopping us hanging out with our wives. That is a fault of the man not turning the computer off and going and spending time with his wife because he's addicted.
I would
so
agree it
shouldn't
is
he
a
be
fault
given-
of the man as well, but a man can engage in something wrong while it being his fault to engage in that, but also the thing he does.
Hey, let's put a corner store in the middle of the hood, but don't go there. Hey, oh my goodness, bro. It shouldn't even be in the view. Do you know how easily influenced kids are? Let's not even talk about those. Let's talk about kids. How easily influenced they are. They don't even know no better. Bro, why say so contradicting? Because it just doesn't make sense. Why you put the temptation in front of somebody and then tell them not to do anything? Women are around here. Women are literally wearing tights all up in the crack of their ass, basically naked, and then tell men not to look. Oh my goodness, this is really what it's like.
Was wrong.
I want to, if you're comfortable, like, do any of you want to speak from personal experience if it's informed your views?
Don't get no pussy.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think most men have had experience with porn, right? And it's not something that you're gonna go shouting that you're happy about. Hang on,
No,
that
no,
you're gonna go around. Okay, we can probably agree on that, right? I would say that many men, I think the average age now for kids getting engaged in porn is like 9 or 10. It's extremely young, right? They get hooked at that young age, and then all of a sudden it blows up. I've had experiences in relationships when I've watched porn. I've had experiences in relationships where I haven't. And I'm married now, and I don't do that anymore, and it's dramatically a better experience for myself and my wife. Right?
I completely agree with you that it's better when you're not doing when you're not doing it than when you are watching porno. It's better for you because of all of those. The false perception of reality that porn offers is very unhealthy to human beings. You would agree, and I would.
It is so unhealthy, bro. I've experienced it, bro. My brother introduced it to me when I was like 8 years old, and my brother didn't know no better. We'll have a talk about that. He didn't know no better. He's just a brother being a brother. That's just what it was. Just kids being kids. But at the end of the day, bro, that took a heavy toll on my life. It did. Took a heavy toll on a lot of our lives, man. I was gracious enough to be able to break free from it and learn that it was bad, getting into the Bible, talking to God more, him working through me with the Holy Spirit. As he does, he works through you. You do nothing. You do nothing. You know what I'm saying? You do nothing. It's all him. You do nothing. So I was gracious and blessed to be aware of how detrimental this is to society. It's very bad. It's worse than any crack cocaine. It's worse than any pill or drug, any shot, because it's behind closed doors and it's silent. Porn is a mental killer. yo, bro, it is one of the most silent of the silence of killers, and it's the most addicting because nigga, it taps into the best feeling that God had for man and woman. And ejaculation is the most powerful thing because it creates life, and they've used it as a weapon. Do you understand? Do you get it? You still don't get it because you're not supposed to get it, nigga. You're on the wrong side. You're supposed to be there. Did I not just explain it to you? Oh yeah, but nigga, turn around so I. Yeah, bro.
That's one of them. I completely also agree, by the way, that is
There's a lot more.
Listen, we can broaden this out and get crazy. You know what I mean?
Let's workshop what's a sentence as brief as possible that you want to offer as the middle ground.
Okay, I would say porn is not the kind of thing that's conducive to a healthy relationship or a healthy life in general, and that while it is legal across states, we should do what we can to minimize illegal activity on the sites themselves and also engagement for minors.
I completely agree with everything Ben has said. Not only am I in the middle ground, give me a corncob pite and a buckle shoe. I'm a trad male, boys.
Who found John?
I completely agree with everything you're saying. It is bad for you. It is bad for relationships. It's bad for women, and it's bad for men. It needs to be protected against kids. Kids should also be educated as to that porn is a fantasy, that it isn't real. That is not what a man looks like. That's not like a woman looks like. If you get into a van in Miami, that is not going to be the result. If you order a pizza, nothing like that is going to happen. And to that, I would say we need more education about sex. We need more education about our bodies, and we need more education about social media and the internet. So when a 9 or a 10-year-old is presented with a webpage that says, don't click on this, they go, oh, this is something I'm not supposed to look at. And that goes to parenting. So I think we, in a macro sense, absolutely agree, but those are all details to the main meme of, I think porn should be available. I don't think anyone should watch it.
So the middle ground is no, men should not be spending their time watching porn.
I hope you're all sitting down. I also agree. No, men should not spend their time watching porn.
Awesome, okay.
Well done.
Good job, buddy. Now get out my face.
That was so fun.
Yay! Get the rebound. Yay! The how.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, John. We were able to come to a middle ground.
Which goes to show how bad it is, because even the progressive people believe it's terrible. Why they believe it's terrible? Probably because they're trying to... It's probably because they're dealing with it. But it's like, bro, it's bad. It's really bad. It's really bad. I know these progressive niggas get tired of whacking off. They ain't got no other choice.
On the last prompt, our next prompt, should men be the leader in romantic relationship?
No, yeah, this is gonna piss me off so much, but let's go.
Naturally, like, we as men are actually the leaders. We do a better job of just like providing security, providing in general. And when I see the inverse of that, it doesn't really go well. Women they're not naturally leaders, and that's completely fine. They're more submissive, and we're more dominant. We just make better choices.
I mean, that's like also scientifically proven what you just said. Men produce less oxytocin and the love hormone, right? It allows people to be more empathetic, and men sit more in that more dominant role in terms of that leadership.
It's equal. The way that we kind of have marriages in our society now is that it's a partnership, and maybe sometimes what that looks like is that one of them does take a lead on certain things, whereas the other one's taking the lead on others. And you can have that balance, and I'm sure that there's some decisions that one partner is more qualified to, have expertise in, and that's gonna go both ways.
Being able to share leadership and not leadership.
She can take a lead on how hot the damn stove need to be, nickel.
It doesn't have any impact on masculinity. Empowering women to take lead does not make you less masculine.
We're talking about romance. So we're looking at the divorce and women cheating. We got to look at why they're doing it, because a lot of men don't have what we call the game. They don't know how to just be romantic. It's not about just romance. It's about listening. It's about being sensual, sexual, romantic, kinky, dirty, listening, connecting, going deep in the mind.
As a man, you should have the ability to be able to cultivate your woman, that's sexually, mentally, and spiritually. And for me, like, if you're able to do all three of those things, you good.
I used to be a gigolo. I used to fuck with women that knew living.
Yeah, that's different. That's different. So in order to be, your job as a man is to be the leader in your relationship. You need to provide, maintain, and take care of your woman.
I'm a child of divorce, first off. So my mom, yeah. That's why we're depressed. I grew up largely with my mom. My mom took on both roles. She took on, the leadership role, and I was with my dad on the weekends. He provided what he could provide with the short time I had with him.
I think that women are just happier in male-dominated relationships. Like, they just prefer to be just taken care of and nurture the children and everyone. And like, when we see that different power dynamic.
What you just said is really problematic. You go, they want this, women want this.
And no, I'm saying, no, but statistically we see the divorce rates between, male and female couples where the female is like, earning more, is the breadwinner.
Here's the thing, man, like I have had to go to therapy because I am just a very unsympathetic person. My wife's like, you don't show a lot of affection, you don't show a lot of, you see, you were talking about
you gotta have emotional intelligence, obviously, it's nothing wrong with having emotional intelligence. I mean, your woman is supposed to be your emotion. That's, you come to her not to cry and moan or be pouty, no, but at the same time, like, bro, that feminine energy, just being around it, it's like a very soothing, calm type thing, right? You just, laying up under her, y'all just chilling. It's just a good vibe. You ain't gotta be, bro, talking about your problem. What are you talking like? Nigga? Let me explain. Look, this a real man fixes problems, right? So if a real man fixes problems, why would he talk about them? You're talking about something that's in the process of being fixed. I could talk about it with my boys. Problems I go to with my boys. Emotion, anything that has anything to do with emotion, I go to my girl. It's so simple, bro. And yes, I could be, I could be emotional with my dogs as far as like, crying and stuff like that, because they'll understand it better. You know what I'm saying? The deep stuff. But, bro, goodness, like, I swear,
like,
this
you gotta
like,
be kinky and stuff like that.
You gotta write a book about this.
I necessarily don't agree with that, but I don't think it needed to go there. But I think it is. I think it is important to understand that that's what romance is, and so who's going to be the better situated to talk about that?
Men, we're all focusing on sex when it's not about
so. Man, why are you seated?
Because it's just too many people.
Too many people, yeah.
That, and it's like, it goes hard, weird, trash. Honestly, I was joking to one guy. I was like, maybe I should have brought a blue shirt. Like,
well, can you speak to that?
Yeah, because y'all niggas is, look at y'all, bro. Y'all not intimidated. Bro, if I was there when I'm talking, niggas is going to listen, bro. I'm not even trying to gas myself up, bro. It's just like, bro, we're competitors. Men are competitive. So I'm going to be competitive. You want to talk, I'm going to talk too, and I'm going to talk louder. I'm going to talk louder.
That a little bit.
If you talking loud, I'm going to talk louder.
I'm not in a relationship right now, guys, but the two I've been
men are
in,
not men are competitive. What are we afraid to be competitive?
Relationships did work out for as long as they lasted because I did not take the lead in the role. I let the two women I've been with take the lead. I'm divorced, yes. But it was just because of the circumstances. Yes, she had to move because of a job, and I couldn't go with her.
I think it's important that we state that the order of God in Christianity is God over Christ, Christ and man, man over woman, and this is vaguely in Islam. There is something similar in another religions.
Well, it says, "Let us make men."
It is. It is important that we stick to this. Once we deviate from this,
this is a real man. This is a real man right here. This dude, he's a real man. He talk. Y'all gonna listen. And guess what? If I was there, I would listen too. You got game recognized. Respect is respect. If you talking that real, I'ma listen. And look at this dude, man. You saw it, bro. Hey, yo, bro, do me a favor. Go get a blue shirt.
I think it depends on what we mean by the term lead, because I think some of us are having this idea of just like control or whatever, like women are supposed to submit and just like, and I would agree with that statement, but I also think it depends on a man who leads like servant-hearted. Like I would argue like a biblical man who he's self-sacrificing, puts the needs of his wife above his own.
The fact of the matter is, in romantic connections with women, there's going to be times that I'm going to need to tell you no, and I'm going to need to control situations that you feel otherwise
situations, not her.
Yeah, if you want to go to Walmart at 2 a.m. in the morning because it's 24 hours and you think you're going to be safe, you're not going. So at the end of the day, we as men have to say, oh, you know what? I understand that, but you're not going, and this is the reason why. And guess what? I'll go because I'm your protector. That's leadership. What I'm saying is these guys are going to play you and we're going to be like, oh, well, why can't they? You know, it doesn't have a study of showing women can't lead just as well as men. This is what they're going to say.
I think the idea of one gender being the only thing that can lead a relationship is just ridiculous. Like, let's be realistic about it. Marriage is considered a partnership. Like, you call it a union, yet you're saying that one person has to lead is ridiculous.
A partnership. That doesn't mean equal. In a partnership, one might do things better than the other. The other might do things better than the other. In Marvel Rivals, you have healers that can heal the team. You got DPSs that can move around and flow very nicely, cut corners quicker, you know, jump, be able to move around the map quicker. You know what I'm saying? To tag the enemy from long distance to close distance. Then you got the tanks. You got the tanks, they're the muscle. They lead the charge. They're like brutes, like walls. They go through things. They're slow, but they got that power and that beef to them. Do you understand what I'm saying? You see, they all synchronize, right? They all have their strengths and weaknesses, but they're a team. My nigga, stop acting stupid. You're an NPC. You were programmed. I'm not even getting mad at you. You were literally programmed.
You work together.
You're not
Some
real.
person's stronger in other aspects, the other person's stronger in the others. You find a partner that you...
Nigga, did you just not say what I just said? Wait.
You work together. Some person's stronger in other aspects, the other person's stronger in the others.
Okay, so you just answered my question. Men are stronger physically, therefore they lead. Because women are more weaker from a physical perspective, which means they do not lead. Why would a weakness out-dominate a strong entity? That doesn't even make sense.
You find a partner that you love, a partner that makes you happy, and you two choose to do what makes you happy together. Maybe you find a submissive woman and a dominant man. Great. Maybe you find a submissive man and dominant...
There's no such thing as a submissive man. He's not a man. There's no such thing.
Maybe you find two people who are dominant together, submissive together. It doesn't matter.
Two people...
It's
What's
about
wrong
individual
with
happiness.
It's something
about how
mentally
effective you are in
wrong
your
with
own
people
life
like
to
this.
give yourself
I'm not,
happiness.
Yeah, bro, YouTube, all of this, everything that I've just said is in GTA.
Less than 30 seconds.
I think he has a
No,
wife.
I
think
got no-
I have a wife.
I got no wife. Jeez, I got a wife.
Sure. Yo.
No.
See, but this goes to show how masculine and traditional these dudes are. They're over here bickering. That's natural. Iron sharpens iron. It's natural.
I got no, dude. Because
Look, the progressive dudes is over there like, oh, they're arguing. You see, traditional is bad. Traditional is bad. Nigga, we're men. We're going to argue. We're actual men. Y'all niggas is over there, hot potato, hot potato. Like,
bring them to a middle ground.
Talking about we're competitive, bro. We trying to talk
I got
over
them on the
here.
middle ground. He got the most votes. He got the most votes.
Let my dog
Nate,
go
raise
up.
your hands for Nate. There you go.
This nigga, like, bro, come on.
It's one.
It's probably cold as shit in there. He's just doing that to be annoying.
2. All right, thank you. Kino. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, I think we have. Let's go. Our winner.
Oh, the nigga just laid hands on him, like.
Okay.
Oh my goodness!
Our
I
two
swear, if
sides
I
have
had
chosen
bread,
their
I'll punch this
speakers.
computer.
I sense a lot more tension on this side than typically, but you guys have chosen Nils and Kino. Should men be the leader of romantic relationships? Gonna let you guys debate that for 8 minutes, and let's see if we can find a middle ground.
I think men should be the leader in romantic relationships. I mean, I'm married. I've, for 8 months, so I'm not quite big experience, but I think thank you, I appreciate that.
I want to know how many progressive niggas got girls or get kitten. That's what I want to know, because it's gonna tell a lot. It is. It's not about sex. Everything is not about sex. It's gonna tell a lot. It is. It just is.
But I think the whole idea of men taking the lead in relationships, men should be pursuing virtues, and I think,
For example, if I was a dude in a red shirt, I would be like, you see, let's just give a hypothetical. Forget about all of this. I would take lead over you because I'm bigger and I'm stronger, and I could snap your neck in GTA.
a lot of the
So I would
things
take
that
the
men
lead,
are
and there would be
biologically.
nothing you can do about it. Well, sir, I could call the cops. I have the law, which is what women have. This is why in marriage women win when it comes to the divorce, even though they're the one that filed it. This is why Kim Kardashian can literally get $200K plus from Kanye West, even though she's a billionaire, a month from child support. You know, this is why Jonathan Majors can literally run from a white woman on camera and still get convicted. So, you know, hey, this is
psychologically,
it.
and societally wired to do are things that are more like leadership oriented. So like risk taking, being able to
My
stand
hair
up for the
itches,
common
bro.
good, doing all these different types of things. And so I think that applies to a romantic relationship because there are going to be instances
Listen, if you still watch porn after watching this video, I'm gonna be honest, you should have some different thoughts.
where a man has to step in and take control and say no and lead, protect, provide, and maintain. And I think those are innate things that we have as masculine men. The other side, I think women tend to feel more protected, and I think that's something that they want. Like, they want to be led. They want to have a man who loves them more than they love themselves. So, you know, the biblical view is like, you should love your wife as Christ loved the church, and so you give your life for that person. So I think that kind of takes
What do you have to say, little
well,
man?
I see that when you're talking about these things, you're talking about generally, you're talking about for your personal life. This is how you experience it. This is what
I don't care what you're talking about. You're so you're too small.
I would say that I don't think that really applies when you're talking about the reality that we live in, which is that everybody is different. You can look at any different person, and every person has different thoughts, different ways of living, different ways of reacting. Right. So even if you're a masculine man, maybe you just are lazy, right? Maybe you don't want to take a lead in your relationship. Maybe you like a partner who goes ahead and does their things for you, and you partner with them. That's the idea of the unionship, right? Is that you're a partnership, and that you're supposed to work together. So when we're talking about men assuming these roles, I agree with you. You said about societally wiring these men and wiring women to feel a certain way. I don't think they're wired that way. I think that they've been reprogrammed that way through movies, through television, through the way that the patriarchal society has existed throughout time. And
the television, the cartoons like Family Guy, The Simpsons, they make the man retarded. The women leading, what are you talking about? He's chatting. It's just non-stop
talking about
chat.
Women never being able to work, never being able to vote. Like, this is all stuff that is very, very new to the world in general. So when we're talking about women being able to do these masculine things, it's not that they don't have the ability to or that they don't have the desire to. It's that they'd never had the opportunity before, and we're trying to get there. We're trying to slowly but surely progress, so that way...
Yeah, you do realize you have the law on your side. If you didn't have the law and men weren't whacking off, gooning 24/7, losing their energy, becoming the most weakest, unconfident people ever, you do realize if all that was wiped away, you wouldn't even have a voice, little man, in GTA. You wouldn't have a voice, because as soon as you would have said 3 to 4 words, you would have got 3 to 4 hits.
Men and women have equal opportunities to do whatever they want. Not be handed a Barbie and not be handed a G.I. Joe, but when you're a child, be able to grab whatever toy you want and have fun and live your life that exact same way as you get older.
Sure. Yeah. So I brought up the points of being, psychologically wired, biologically wired, and you completely disregarded those two and went straight to the sociological. There are studies that show that men, we just naturally have more testosterone. That's just the way it is. And psychologically, we are just more wired to be in a hierarchical situations, and that requires leadership, because the person at the top is the one making the decisions. I'll put it this way: I think men have a strong, soft side, and I think women have a soft, strong side. And what I mean by that is men are supposed to take these things of leadership, but we're also supposed to have empathy. We're also supposed to, I would probably disagree with some of these guys about like men not being able to like share their emotions. I know it is virtuous to show courage, but a deficiency in courage would be something like you're a coward. And whereas on the other side, you have an excess of that, which would be recklessness. And I think a man leading in a virtuous state provides the most stable home to raise children, to do all these different types of things.
So what do you mean by virtuous?
Like courage, temperance, fortitude, all these different types of things. We have this like Andrew Tate, like hyper toxic masculinity that I would absolutely reject. But then
yeah, brother, but you gotta understand, the hyper toxic masculinity is needed because we're in a hyper feminine world. We're in a hyper. Men are extremely weak. They literally need like a testosterone hit of, like a steroid testosterone hit. We need to combat it with something. Y'all just agreed that porn was bad.
Other side, we also have this rapid evolving femininity that's happening, and I'm saying the
thank you. I'm so glad. Thank you.
virtuous path is often in the middle.
If we shift a little bit from kind of this higher level, can you guys speak from personal experiences as to why, have your personal relationships
He don't get no yams though, so he can't.
And why you would make that argument?
Yeah, I'm stupid. I think a lot of
I'm stupid too, my friend.
Exactly.
We're all stupid.
That's not a great way to start an argument.
I think it's the perfect way to start it, John, because I think you're stupid too, John.
Got him.
Let's be real. All of us are stupid at one thing or another. Maybe we make mistakes. Maybe we choose to do something that we're just bad at, or maybe we choose to do something we think we're gonna be good, or we think it's the right decision and it's not. So, for example, I'm not a mechanic. If my girlfriend comes to me to try and figure out how to fix a car,
I'm going to at least try to fix it before I call a mechanic. I'm gonna put on some work clothes. I'm gonna get dirty. She gonna know, listen, my man tried. And guess what? She'll never need another mechanic again, because the power of the power of a woman will motivate a man for eternity. So I'm gonna tell you like this here. Nigga ain't know about cars, promise you I know everything under the hood. Everything.
I'm making
I
a
know
template,
everything under
but it
the
doesn't
hood.
mean
Next
that I
time.
know what
everything.
best to do, so I'm just gonna go in there with a wrench. The idea is that we try and figure out the best solution.
Bro, my rotor's messed up and I tried to fix it myself. Then my cousin came to me and was like, bro, you can't do that by yourself. You gotta say that between. I was like, all right. I was literally out there for like 4 hours trying to fix my own rotors. That's real man shit, bro. I am a real man. I am on the right side of life. I am a real man. I am trying to be a real man, everything through the grace of God. Yes. Oh, Lord, forgive me, as I always ask. I am trying to be a real man, bro. I was out there for 4 hours trying to fix some damn rotors with some tools. I didn't know what I was doing. I was on a YouTube video looking, but I was on YouTube.
Solution together, right?
Sure.
If we're trying to make sure that we're doing the best things together. It's not that simple as just, oh, I lead because I, have a thing.
Sure.
Talking from personal experience, the idea of working together and being a partnership is an incredibly important thing, and I think that goes above just needing to lead, regardless if you're the woman, the man, or you're in a gay relationship, whatever it may be. The idea is that you are in your partnership and you should be working together. And I think that maybe even your religion would say the same thing.
I mean, I agree with most of what you said, but I think at the end of the day, like, there are going to be certain decisions that need to be made, and I think the men have the most capable instinct in knowing that. And granted, they very well could be wrong. So going back to the idea of speaking from personal experience, I mean, my wife and I's marriage functions in a very traditional sense. Like, I'm the head of the house. When important decisions come to make, I consult my wife. I really much value her insight, and I really care about her and like what she wants. If it functions where the man lays down his life for his wife, he leads his wife, he puts her needs above his, and the wife submits to the man's leadership, I think that leads to a flourishing relationship. And I'm not saying submit blindly to this controlling man. I'm just saying, no, like, she should submit. I mean, but the man should also be loving her more than he loves himself. So I view it as like a partnership, like you're saying, but at the end of the day, there is a clear, distinct biological, psychological, and you could argue social. How do you say that word? Societal. Sorry,
No.
Societal impression on romantic relationships, and I'm speaking about marriage in general. But I would obviously, even before we were married, we kind of had that figured out.
Okay, so we're out of time for the debating. I want you each to take a swing at what's a middle ground statement you think you would both agree with after hearing each other.
Okay. So I believe that my middle ground statement would come from the idea of the betterment of your life for you, your wife, your husband, your child, whoever is in your vicinity. If you are working towards making sure that you have the best thing in that life, regardless of if you're the leader or not. So regardless of if the man is the leader or not, as long as the relationship and the family is progressing forward healthily, then that's all that matters.
No.
I think I would put forth
There's no such thing as a healthy relationship without the leader of a man.
It is a good thing if a man and wife, or whatever, insert romantic relationship, both pursue a virtuous life that will lead to both of them flourishing.
I don't. Do either of you disagree with each other?
I feel like we're saying the same thing. We're just using different words, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it would be preferable for your middle ground statement to, talk about men or leadership. Ideally, both.
Sure. Okay.
Right.
How about this? The most flourishing that a relationship could get comes from a man who leads his wife in love.
Oh, no. I mean, again, I'm not saying that doesn't exist. Obviously, there's plenty of examples of existence.
Bro, like, this dude looks like he's 14 years old, bro. Look at this guy talking directly down to him. Like, look, how am I supposed to take this serious? You're moving around. You have no posture. Bro, these are clear indicators of weakness. No eye contact. He looks away. It's crazy. Look at him versus him. I'm telling you, bro, it's literally night and day. It's crazy in GTA.
But I think that a happy relationship could exist without.
He cannot stare this man in the eyes.
Without a man at all.
That nigga's
but I feel like
porned
we're
up.
there. I feel like we can do this. Okay. So I believe that a man does not have to be the leader to get a happy relationship.
Well, I do think a man should lead, but I think what we mean by lead might be different.
Okay, let's do. Let me see if I can give you something. So if we do a man and a woman working in partnership is more important than who is leading them.
Ooh, I wouldn't say more important.
Because think about it this way. I'm gonna give you my example is that if a man is leading, but they're a terrible leader, I mean, I'm sure you've met men that suck as leaders, right?
Yep,
if your man is leading, it can get real rough. So if you have a man that's leading, but they're a terrible leader, and the wife is submitting, but it's a terrible leader, so they go somewhere terrible. You don't want that, right? You prefer, even if they're not leading, if their wife is keeping them in check, if the husband's keeping her in check, they're working together, that's more important than a man leading, right?
I think I would agree with that. The only exception would be if the man is truly leading the relationship down a horrible place, and the wife just has to submit there and follow along as they both spiral. So how can we rephrase that to include that?
We got this. Let's just take a second.
Are we?
Yes, because we got the idea wrong. All we're trying to do is phrase it. Okay, so
let's give it one more try.
All right, let's do this. Okay, you take a second thing. I'm gonna take a second thing.
Yeah, no, I will.
And then it forces niggas like him to have to indulge in this stuff.
What about the man should be the leader if that makes sense for the
every single prompt is making the other person concede on their point. And so I feel like we've spent like 15 minutes on each prompt trying to reach a middle ground. We said we don't need to reach a middle ground, but necessarily to reach a middle ground on these things, it would need for one of them to concede a point.
No, I think I agree with you. I don't think we're gonna get past this one.
If I have to give the point that in some certain relationships, if the man isn't doing his job, I can see that it might be okay for a woman to step into that role
temporarily, but she's not going to be fulfilled. It's not gonna work. She's gonna lead a nigga. She wants to be led. Biology. Oh, forget biology. Studies are what y'all go off of, though.
At least for a time.
Yeah. So I get what you mean. I think you're thinking about it more broadly, but we're talking about the man has failed. Mm-hmm. It's good for the woman to step up. Mm-hmm. So I think that we're good with that. Yeah?
Sure, yeah.
All right, let's do it. So if a man is failing in his leadership role, then a woman should be able to step up.
Yeah, I agree with that. A woman should be able to step up if her man is failing as a leader.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you, man. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you to Nils and to Kino for that very strained but miraculous middle ground. The whole point of this is it is kind of an impossible task, but I do think it is interesting to find where people will concede. And that is kind of what society does, is agree over things that seem impossible to agree on. So let's move into our next one. Is misandry more allowed than misogyny? Choose your speakers.
Thank you. I'm so glad they showed a definition. I'm about to look it up. Hated, disliked, or mistrust of men. Hated, dislike, or mistrust of women. I don't think none of them should exist. What was the question?
So let's move into our next one. Is misandry more allowed than misogyny?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yes!
Times have we seen, I hate men, men are trash,
yes!
online. And then if you
Bro, when do you see niggas saying, I hate women, a straight man cannot genuinely hate women, bro. Women is equipped with everything that a man wants and needs. It's hard for us to say that. Women are designed to want to try to lead over men. It's our job to not allow that to happen. They have almost a rebellious biology. Look at Eve.
to say anything remotely like that, you would get flamed into eternity, right?
I think it's really important to look at how we're defining permitted.
When do you hear that?
Legally and in corners of the internet that no one wants to go to are so different. Just because some woman on the internet is screaming, oh my God, I hate men, men should burn, men are trash, and our comments are lighting her up, does not mean that that's how society operates. A majority of the time, misogyny is so much more permitted within society because it is such a systemic issue. There is not a systemic hatred of men in society. It's just, it doesn't exist. Misogyny gets women okay? Misandry makes men have hurt feelings sometimes.
We know that misandry is more permissible because have you ever heard of like toxic womanhood? No, but you hear of toxic masculinity. You hear people arguing against just being masculine itself. They treat it like it's a problem, like our very identity and part of who we are is a problem. That never happens with women. It just doesn't.
I think misogyny has a much different historical and sociological context than misandry, which is the hate for men, especially because this has become such a thing that's been developed.
Bro, I'm gonna tell you like this, bro. I don't have time for this, man. I need to create warriors. I need warriors. I need people that's gonna be able to fend for the kingdom of what's to come. I don't need weakness, bro. If I have a child, first of all, my kids ain't going to school, so they shouldn't even be influenced by that stuff. And even around the neighborhood, I'm gonna be watching it on track. And bro, as far as man, my girl probably gonna might go rogue because of society. And if that's the case, I hopefully God gives me enough time to instill the knowledge that my kids need in order to survive if they're in her custody. This is a hypothetical, but bro, if my kid is like this, bro, and I can't do nothing about it, and you made your mind up, bro, you're disowned, bro. I love you. Listen, I love you. I could love you from afar, just like I could love you close. I could love you from afar, bro. But you're not. Come on, man. I need warriors, bro. Sorry, it is what it is. You'll find somebody. Don't worry. This society will take you in with open arms, buddy. You good. Don't even worry about it. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, but if that was really your son, bro? I'm less emotional. The more and more I become man, the less and less more emotional I am going to become. So what you need to understand is, bro, that's why men are supposed to be leaders, because we can make the tough decisions. Less emotion is involved in the tough decisions. It will be hard for a man to make tough decisions if he has emotion involved in it. That's why men do stupid stuff when they're horny, because their dick makes the decisions and not their brain. Hello? Like, bro, y'all already know this stuff.
Recently as a counter to feminism, rather than actually speaking about things that men are actually dealing with.
Another idea that came about in the 20th century where women got educated and it developed this adversarial relationship with men where it used to work in tandem, right? The order, the man leading his household. We all kind of agreed with that. Some of us who come from Christian and Muslim backgrounds agreed with that, and some of us who didn't agree with that. When that was disrupted, women started trying to compete with men. They said, well, why is he above me now? I feel bad. They started getting fed all this stuff. Then it caused competition in the workplace.
Correction, white women started competing with white men.
I didn't go there, but you're right.
And when Sojourner Truth came in and started speaking about women's rights, she was abruptly told that she needs to leave.
Whoever's going to do it, let's get to middle ground.
Finding middle ground is going to be difficult, though. Men do get demonized a lot. I understand why. The fact that there's still an Andrew Tate and he's popular, that's a problem. But at the same time, I think misogyny is an even bigger problem.
Votes for Abram? Okay, remind everybody your name. And then if you Oliver? Oh, yeah, Oliver has it. Appreciate it.
There was a point in the past where misogyny was more rampant, right? But I think we've actually flipped now. Third wave feminism.
They have parades in the street.
This is why we got to get to the middle ground. We got to get to the middle ground because of that. Though. We have to get to the middle ground.
So I think the middle ground could be, I think the middle ground could be that both have been problems in this country.
Raise your hands if you want Mike to speak on this issue. I see one. What's
Ryan.
your name? Ryan. Raise your hands if you want Ryan. I'm seeing the most. I'm seeing 4. All right, so the two groups have chosen Ryan and Oliver for this. Is misandry more allowed than misogyny?
Yeah, I would say absolutely it is. I mean, we hear this term toxic masculinity used. Have we ever heard the term toxic femininity? No, we don't. But there are some women that have behaviors that I would say are toxic. We were talking earlier about false rape accusations. Yeah, that does happen, and that would be a toxic trait coming from them. And it's just a lot of the plights of men are often just discounted because they're men. We are told inherently that who we are is toxic by that term toxic masculinity in and of itself.
So I would disagree a little bit. I think first it's really important when we're having a conversation about masculinity at all to define what we mean by masculinity. So I think a lot of the times when people are attacking toxic masculinity, as a man, I don't view it as an attack on me because they, in my view, are attacking traits such as like over-aggression, these traits such as suppressing your emotions to the point at which you can't function, or to the point at which like you are not able to communicate with your partner in a healthy manner. Demonizing gay men or other men as not real men because they don't live the same lifestyle as you. There's a lot of different things like that. So when people talk about toxic masculinity, I don't see that as a form of misandry. I see them calling out types of behaviors that are harmful to everyone, including men. So any woman or any person who calls out toxic masculinity, I view as an advocate, an ally of men, and not someone who hates them.
But why not just call out the negative behavior itself?
Because there is a type of behavior that is exemplified and takes it to an unhealthy level. You should not become, like, never talk about your...
I wouldn't even look this nigga in the eye because it's like I'm looking at a demon. I would just look at the other ones. I would look at the other progressive men as he's talking. I would literally
emotions so much so that you become a raging mess and take out your aggression on people violently. That's not good. And that is a form of... I don't even know if it would really be a full form of masculinity. It's a perversion of masculinity. Toxic masculinity, as I talked about earlier, it leads men to literally kill themselves if they think they can't talk about their emotions in such a way that is healthy. So I think that's actually really helpful to men in that regard.
I don't think so. I think, too, that just aggression in general, you said that like it's a bad thing. I actually think aggression can be a good thing.
I said over-aggression. I think there, in certain contexts, competitiveness, great. It's fine. But
like if you're... defending your family would require a man to be overly aggressive to protect their family.
First off,
we want our soldiers. We want our soldiers. We want people that are fighting in UFC to be overly aggressive. Those are things that we actually identify as good, and even women show preference to it. But the question, going back to the question, is normalization of hatred for men more prevalent than for women? And I would say yes, overwhelmingly yes.
So where do you see the hatred of men primarily? I'm just curious.
Well, I see it in women's marches, and I see it in general conversation when women are like, I don't need a man.
I don't need a man?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm curious. If a man were to say, I don't really need a woman, I'm happy living my life the way I am, I enjoy my career, I enjoy where I'm at, I'm just not really in a position where I need a woman. Would he be hating women by making that type of statement, making such a sentiment?
Women?
Yeah, would you say they hate women?
Well, that's not celebrated, though. That's not something that's...
No, but that's not what I said, though. I said, is that an example of hating women?
Is that an example of hating women?
Because you said an example of hating men is saying I don't need a man.
Yeah, but they're doing it in a way to put down men. They're doing it because they view the patriarchal structure of society as being an inherently bad thing. Why?
So wait a second. Because I think a society in which is structured so that men have certain advantages over women unfairly is unfair to them. I don't think attacking patriarchy or the advantage of women unfairly is unfair.
I swear it's rage bait, bro.
To them.
It's rage
I don't
bait.
think attacking patriarchy or the advantages that men get is in any way attacking them. There's a famous phrase that to the privilege, equality feels like oppression. Okay? So just because you are in a certain position and someone is saying, hey, I don't really think it's fair that you, for example, are taken more seriously in business meetings or have a better access to this certain education, or within schools, you're pushed towards more STEM fields, and me as a woman, I'm pushed to more humanities or caretaking fields. I don't think that, I don't see that as a hatred of men. So any other examples of misandry, happy to hear them from you, and I'll say why I don't really think they're that prevalent.
So even in a case like, let's look at the issue with Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively. Yeah. It was automatically assumed when that news broke that Baldoni was guilty. Everyone just assumed that in the very beginning, and as more evidence came out, it was looked at the opposite way. It's because we have a culture that teaches women essentially to be afraid of men that were a problem.
Wait, I thought that was a very, very balanced case. I mean, I don't...
In the very beginning, no, because the general media consensus, at least from my understanding, was in favor of Blake Lively, but as more evidence came out, they thought otherwise.
Here's what's wrong with this dude, bro. It's like somebody need to put a sock in his mouth. Let me talk. This is the problem, bro. He wouldn't be able to do this in any generation. This is only allowed in this generation, where he's able to do this. Puny is able to just over talk me.
My issue with this media perception is on social media, we see the extremes amplified. We see the most extreme voices, the people who will say something, get a clip. I don't need men. Men are trash. Men should burn. Kill all men. But that is not actually prevalent. That is not something that exists outside of the realms of Twitter and the TikTok algorithm. Go up to your average woman on the street. Ask her, how do you feel about men? I'm sure that she would give you a ton of things that she loves about men, because there's so many women who date men, marry men, have men that they love in their lives. And that's the reality
and the
of people who exist in our society, not the fringe people on the internet.
And don't forget divorce men. And guess why they divorce men? Because of social media. You forgot divorce, buddy. You forgot divorce. Motherfuckers literally, he must be living in La La Land. He must be talking about La La Land. Because where I'm from, It ain't as happy nandy dandy as you're claiming it to be, you soft goon.
Yeah, but there are a lot of women that are foregoing marriage, foregoing relationships, not having kids, all these things because they're taught to be afraid of.
Wait, are they taught to? What teaches them to be afraid of men?
Feminism?
No. 1 second. I don't think feminism. Is it possible that their life experiences with men teach them to be afraid of men? The fact that
They're
overwhelming
snapping
majority
their finger. Yo, I'm not pausing this video no
of
more.
women
I promise.
have experienced some form of sexual assault
This
at the hands of a
rage bait,
man
this is
or
the demon.
sexual
I'm not
harassment.
pausing
Ask
the video
any woman
no
in your
more.
life about a
It's
negative
done.
experience
I'm
that
not
you've had
pausing
with
the
a
video
man.
no more. I don't care.
You will be. It'd be hard to find one who hasn't. Do you think that's possibly what makes
I want to
women
make
afraid?
sure we Oliver, I appreciate what you're saying. I just want to make sure we get more in from him before we start going for the middle ground.
Okay, yeah. I mean, anything you want to respond to?
There have been men that have been guilty of doing awful things toward women, but this mindset that I believe is taught is that all the men are guilty of doing this. That you can't trust any man. That you can't be alone with any man. It's very common that women say that they can't. They're afraid to walk down the streets. Somebody in the previous when I was having conversation said that. They had that analogy of the would you rather be alone with a man or a bear? And most women chose the grizzly bear that would rip them apart. That's crazy.
So wait a second. Now, granted, I am not a woman, so I don't understand the fear of walking down the street every night and feeling like I have a target on my back. So instead of looking at this and being like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. The women are insane. I'm not even going to deal with them. When I saw that, I saw that trend.
Who
I was
said
like,
I'm not gonna deal with
wow.
women?
Like that is, imagine living your life in a state where you feel like you are at risk of your physical safety from 50% of the population. That must be awful, and we should look into the reasons why, what is it, like 97% of women have experienced some form of sexual harassment. You ask any woman if she's had an unwanted encounter of a sexual romantic nature with a man, I guarantee the overwhelming majority will be able to tell you. It comes from real life experience, not this amorphous threat of men. Men are real, and men can be very threatening because of many of the biological differences that I feel you would be very sympathetic to. Men are largely stronger. Men are largely larger. Men are largely, have a lot of that over women. So women, sometimes because of the physical nature are more vulnerable. It makes sense for them to be more wary of men. That's just a rational response. It's not
to
a
the
hatred.
point where they would
I want to hear
rather
your response, and then we're going to go into
Sure,
but to the point where they would rather choose to be alone with a grizzly bear over a man in the woods. How many men does the average woman really believe that she would be safer alone with a grizzly bear that is trained to rip them apart than a man? It doesn't make any sense to me because men show up too and to defend women.
Of course,
men have fought for women's rights. I mean, fought for this.
They didn't fight for women's rights. Men didn't fight for women's rights, bro. I don't know who fought that war. I don't know what that is. I don't know what at that point in time was.
I want to stop you guys here.
Yeah.
Plenty of disagreement, but it's time to start throwing.
I want to hear more examples of misandry. I still don't know what it is, so I want to know.
Well, I think we're out of time.
It's a hatred of men.
We can keep exploring your disagreements as we start proposing where there's a middle ground.
I think too.
And so let's hear from you
just look
first.
at our education system, all right? So a lot of young boys are slapped with ADHD diagnoses. We're taught that just the nature of us being who we are, just being a little bit rambunctious or having high energy is like a bad thing. So instead of treating that, instead of dealing with that, or instead of restructuring our education system to accommodate men, they don't. They slap pills on young boys, get them hopped up on ADHD medication, and don't actually let them get their aggression out or their energy out in healthy ways.
And you think it's because they hate men?
Yeah, I do. I don't think it's due in part.
I don't think it's because they hate men. I think it's because the big pharma wants to sell you pills instead of the solution to the problem. And I think that.
So you believe in pills and pharma? Wait, hold on. Wasn't this the same dude that said that depression is real? And that you should take medication for it? I'm not even going.
Gender. They do it to both individuals. I don't, this doesn't seem like a gender-specific issue.
I know it's something wrong with him, so I'm not even surprised that he slapped. If he was the one that said that depression is real and that you should take medication for it, was it him? No, he was arguing with the disabled guy. Was it him? I swear it was him. I swear it was.
So both of you, it's time to start offering a statement that you think you can both
Disparate
agree
impact
on.
is really interesting that he agrees with that.
What's a statement you think you can both agree on?
I have one.
Yeah.
Hating anyone for genuinely hating them because of their sex or their gender is just wrong. You shouldn't do it. If someone genuinely hates men or genuinely hates women, That's not good. We should not promote people hating people based on any immutable characteristic, and sex is included within there.
Just repeating what the prompt is.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the question is misandry.
I don't think I can find middle ground on this because misogyny literally kills women, and misandry.
I mean that statement in itself.
Are you kidding me?
Very presence.
No. You misunderstood me. You misunderstood me.
Okay,
the
explain.
hatred of women kills women.
Yes.
Would you disagree with that?
The hatred of, hatred could lead to killing
So the
somebody
definition
else,
of misogyny is the hatred of women.
Yeah.
So the misogyny kills women.
Yeah.
That's
so you
what I
could
just
say
said.
the same thing. The hatred of men, teaching them who they are as being toxic, could lead to them ending their own lives.
Okay, so because some men some men might have a misunderstanding of what misandry is and they might kill themselves, then that's the same thing as men killing women because
or
they hate
being
them.
unjustly locked up for rape accusations.
And how often
because automatically it's deferred that the woman is innocent, she's not guilty, and the man is guilty.
What about Johnny Depp? Did that happen in that case? What about in Chris Brown? Did that happen in that case?
Chris
Brown. What about in Donald Trump? Did that happen
mad flag.
In that case? What happened to Brett Kavanaugh? I can
Brett
keep going.
Kavanaugh was demonized.
What? Yeah, he was.
And but did he get locked up? What are you talking about? Chris Brown was getting hate for years. What are you talking about? Until the story really came out, we saw the full scoop.
Right now.
Yeah, because
where is he right now?
It failed.
Tell me where he is. Where is he right now?
He's sitting on the Supreme Court.
Thank you.
Yeah, I guess you're proving
Okay,
a point. There you go. Good job, buddy.
What do you want to
There you
propose
go.
as-
Yay.
What's a statement you want to propose that you think you can both agree?
Because it doesn't matter how good he could talk. He's weak. In weak men, you will never succeed. He's weak. It doesn't matter how good a game he could talk. It doesn't matter how easily he can convince. It doesn't matter how good his words. It does not matter. Do you not get it? Hell no, I don't agree with this goofball.
I don't think that.
Well, that's our middle ground. We can't find any middle ground on this, I don't really think.
Yeah.
Look at this dude. You can't even stop moving. Do you have ADHD?
I think hitting men is wrong.
Misandry is normalized. It's very normalized to the point where we don't even realize
You can't
it.
give me an example of it. That's what I'm wondering.
You a bunch of examples.
But the examples you gave me were women trying to live their lives of their own autonomy and accord, which is saying, I don't need a man, which is fine. I don't see what world you view that as hatred unless you think you're entitled to women.
Yeah, but
I am.
That's the only way I interpret that as a hatred of man. I'm being as charitable as I literally possibly can.
I gave you
These
the
demons could talk a good game.
example of schools being structured toward that.
It's structured towards that, but the issue is you can't just say that an issue affects men, and therefore it's because we hate men.
I've literally heard women say, I hate men.
Of course,
literally.
absolutely. And
Death to the patriarchy,
of course.
all these things.
Wait,
I've
wait a
heard
second.
that.
Death to the patriarchy means death to the societal structures in which give men more societal power than women for no.
And that's not true because men do not have more societal power than women. Not what society. Okay, maybe I'm on another planet and I'm like in a simulation, like the Matrix, like I'm in a tube or something, like I'm in a bubble. Cause maybe, and when I watch the internet, I'm looking into another world because maybe they're living in La La Land. That sounds like La La Land, and we wouldn't even be having this conversation because you wouldn't even.
No reason. That's not the hatred of men unless you think men ought to have that power because they are men. That is the only way.
And he can't say that because if he says that, no, yo, oh my goodness,
that way.
Men cannot be men. Because if he said yes, he wouldn't be able to defend it. He got security and everything in there. It's who can defend their. It's who can defend their opinion. You know how men defend their opinion? Bro, I keep leading back to the same thing.
So all I'm showing here is a lot of these
Because he's
ideas of what you
talking.
think misandry are just your misogynistic instincts and assumptions being exposed.
Yeah, so now you're assuming that I'm misogynistic.
I'm not
because
assuming.
Yeah, you are.
I'm not assuming. That was not an assumption. I gave you a very clearly
You're
rhetorical
demonstrating
path.
it right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Really, I hate men.
What
yeah.
is he demonstrating?
Dismissive of men.
Dismissive?
Showing
Hey,
this
let him
general
talk.
sentiment
Let him
of
talk.
animosity toward men. He's showing it.
How?
You just did it.
So I said that you have a disdain towards women because you view breaking down societal structures that benefit men.
You called
as
me
hating men.
misogynistic.
Because that's literally the
do you
definition.
think he's misogynistic?
Yeah, probably. I think we all are a little bit, some more than others. Yeah.
I don't think we're gonna get.
No, granted,
to a
I want to
middle
point
ground.
something out. I don't think I'm free of misogyny either. So this is not to say that you are a terrible individual or that I am a terrible individual. I've done a lot of learning to unlearn a lot of these ideas that, frankly, I've been instilled with throughout my entire life.
And how's that been going for
But
you?
I want to encourage you, just for, I'm sensing there's a lot of energy coming from your side. And so I do want to give you an opportunity to, expand on what you just said. You feel like he's coming from a misogynistic place, but you say you might be coming from one.
Absolutely.
If you were to lower your temperature a few degrees and expand on that in a way that he might understand.
We're two men debating women's issues, so there's only so much of a perspective that I can provide here. And this is not, I realize that I have not taken the most charitable approach in this conversation, and I apologize for that. I do not think you're a bad person. I do not think you actively hate women. I think misogyny can linger in so many ways that we don't even realize. Even when you hear, this just happened last week with me. Someone was like, oh yeah, Dr. Berg moved to another institution. I said, oh, where'd he go? That's an example of it. I assumed that Dr. Berg was a man. Dr. Berg was, in fact, a very qualified epidemiologist. That's the type of underlying misogyny that many of us have.
I mean, isn't that just a misunderstanding?
It's not because no, wait a minute. Hold on. It's not because your assumption is doctor is associated with man. That's your first assumption. When women can be doctors too. Why doesn't the assumption go to women being doctors? Why isn't it?
Because I guess we grow up where a lot of people just assume that men are doctors. I don't know that.
Because more men are doctors.
Maybe that
because they've been
person's
given.
dad was a doctor, so he just had it in his mind that his dad's a doctor. So yeah.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
It's okay if we can't get to a middle ground, but just one last chance.
Yeah.
At least offer a statement that you think both sides can agree with.
Yeah, I obviously believe that there's, misogyny. I believe that. I believe there's misandry. I believe these things happen. But I think at a societal level, we do see more of it negatively toward men, not women. Show me, I guess, give me.
I'm sorry. It's so hard to just let him talk. It's just been like he's talking to a guy that is weak and will defend the system in any regards and will do research. He won't train. He won't study on ways to better his life. He won't do none of that. This guy will literally study things that don't matter. He will study on how to make men weak. Men that are trying to be stronger, weaker. He will study these things. He will devote his whole life to studying these type of things because he is not progressive. He's not even progressive. I just call this demon. Progressive. They made progressive a bad word. I progress in life. I want to progress in my career. I want to progress in the gym. They made progressive bad. They made the rainbow bad. It's just, bro, these type of men were designed to corrupt everything. He's not going anywhere. It's all a test. This is the battle. One side versus the other.
I mean,
we already know from a physical sense, this side will easily be able to take this side. We already know that. But we can't talk about physical sense. Can't talk about that because that's obvious. It's too obvious. No, we got to go through words. Which, bro, this would have been done in 5 minutes if we were going to physical. So
examples
if it was physical,
of where you think this is happening more predominantly
an hour and 30
women.
minute
against
TED
women.
talk.
The fact that women are denied the ability to receive certain types of education. In the sense of within schooling, they are often intentionally pushed
Schools
towards certain
designed
careers.
for women.
Wait,
I'm sorry,
no.
guys. Just for time, we're gonna have to end this one, but let's at least shake hands. And it was a good try. Thank you, guys.
No ill will, even on camera. Okay.
All right, moving into our next prompt. Is Elon Musk a good masculine role model? Sounds like there might be some divide. Come forward and find your speaker.
No, he's not a good role model on this side.
Right. I don't even know the guy.
Okay. Yeah. He has a bunch of baby mamas, which is not very traditional or like good for like a family household.
I believe he has a great mind and he's contributed a lot to society with SpaceX and all the other things. But again, I have no idea about who he is as a person. So I don't know if he's a good man or not.
We're no different than them when we just say, oh, well, he makes money, right? So does Andrew Tate. I don't think we would agree that Andrew Tate is a in-the-house father figure that's morally guiding his children, right?
It's unlikely that anyone in this room knows more about the damage that Elon is doing to our government than I do. It's also unlikely that someone in this room knows more about Elon's history than I do. This is something I have a lot of mastery in, and I would absolutely love to destroy on this topic. My qualifications, I'm a political analyst, and I was an advisor to a presidential campaign. I am deeply involved in politics and governance.
All in favor of Ryan?
Yeah.
All right. No pressure.
First unanimous vote.
Is he possibly somebody that America maybe would need in order to go in a certain direction that the president is deciding to go in, sure. But in terms of like a human being perspective, like first of all, like he's a Dutch South African. They hands down supported apartheid. Like I've been trading Tesla stock for years, dude. It's freaking great. But now I stopped trading it just based off the fact of where he stands politically.
There's nothing masculine about abandoning your kids. There just isn't.
I feel like we're all generally in the no column for varying reasons. Obviously, he's a great business mind. I would love to just completely just like fight it down and just say, listen, he's a great person that has accomplished many great things, but he is off his rocker right now, and he's never been fully on his rocker, and he's not an ideal of what the average American man should be striving to be.
Me. 1, 2, 3. The groups have chosen their speakers. Napoon, you're coming on up. And Ryan. Let's see where this goes. Is Elon Musk a good masculine role model? What do you guys think?
I don't believe that anyone is evil, and I believe everyone has virtues. I think Elon's a really complicated, problematic, and potentially broken person, and I think he gets exalted because his successes are obvious, but his failures aren't as covered. And I think, but more than that, I think when you're looking for a male role model who is successful, there's so many people out there who don't have such an open track record for, casually having children everywhere and rejecting his child for something that they can't control. And it's hard for me to see how he would be in the top 1,000 of anybody's list.
Okay. So the consensus of our group, which I'm here to represent, is that hell no.
You guys don't think that?
Yeah, we don't think he is a proper role model for varying reasons. Obviously, successful businessman, brilliant mind. The man can catch a goddamn rocket. Like, so obviously he's great. But at the same time, he's with Trump right now. 2008, Tesla was popping up with Obama everywhere. He's moving left and right. He's not standing on a singular value that we can actually hold him to, except, I guess, the value of money.
Yeah.
And success and business development. So based on that and the fact that he lacks a demonstration of family values, we don't think he's a role model for like the everyman.
Okay, so let's cut to the crap here. Let's get a middle ground statement on why you think he's not a good masculine role model.
Well, there's a lot.
Side note, I did not step in front of the Tesla that might hit me later.
I did. I mean, I think it could be as simple as he's not a good role model.
So I would say that Elon Musk, albeit a great man that will be remembered in history for significant accomplishments in business and science, does not represent a proper masculine role model, as he has put himself in an imbalanced way to achieve those successes, and he does not demonstrate the spirituality, the family values, or the social values to be a good role model.
I mean, I think the thing that sticks out to me that I can't agree with is that he'll be remembered as a great man. I think he'll be remembered, and I think he'll be remembered as at least somewhat successful and impactful, but I think he'll be remembered as a mixed bag, as a human.
I mean, history is written by the victors, so we can't really decide how he's going to be written.
Yeah, that's my guess.
Yeah. He's a bad masculine role model because he's an imbalanced person focused entirely on business and his scientific advances
I don't
for
know
his
much
businesses,
about Elon.
and rather than a family and a general sense of growth
He's a
for
hard
society.
worker, though, and I respect his hard work.
Semi-acknowledging what he's done in the most recent election.
I wouldn't say that those are the reasons why.
Okay.
What makes him problematic transcends any one of those things and incorporates them all. I think
his use of Roman salutes,
and that's not great.
Yeah.
But I think also if we're talking about family values, I'm not sure he has values. I mean, there are some people who just they're not immoral or moral; they're amoral. They kind of exist in this weird third orb of existence, and I don't. He might be one of those people. He may not have morals, period, I guess is what I'm saying.
Well, lack of morals is also a form of immorality, I would say.
Yeah, but there's being immoral and then there's not having access to it. by definition, people who are clinically narcissistic, those are amoral people. Their brain can't do good or bad that way. They're not inherently bad because they're not doing good or thinking good or saying good. They don't have access to what we would consider good. It's just not available to them at all.
I'm just walking around my room right now.
I was just try and suggest that he has one way or the other.
I don't know much about
I just know that from the perspective of what we can see on the outside.
Yeah.
Obviously, his $100 billion industry and his $100 billion life that we see only 1% of. I mean, one person brought up that his family was Dutch, white, in South Africa, so they might have a problematic history with apartheid there, and a whole slew of other things. The point is, what we see in front of us, the man presented in front of us, is not someone that anyone sits and goes, yeah, that's a Chad. I want my kid to grow up like that. Like maybe in business, for sure. Maybe in science, for sure. Yeah. But other than that, it's not someone that you think about and you look as a well-balanced person that you want to be.
Yeah, I can certainly agree that he's not well-balanced, for sure.
Yeah. Elon Musk is not a good masculine role model because masculinity gives value to someone because...
Let's just leave it at that. Elon Musk is not a good role model.
Yeah, great. I love that it was really that easy.
Sounds
Elon
good.
Musk is not a good role model.
All right, let's fight about something else.
That concludes part 1 of this Middle Ground XL.
Notice how he was like the less. Notice how he was the less like. He was like the most normal one. For real, for real. Very calm, cool, collected, had his posture up and everything. It was
That concludes
valid.
part 1 of this Middle Ground XL.
It was good.
We're going to revisit those middle ground statements that we found in the debates in part 2. You seated.
There's nothing you...
Not a good role model. Come to the middle. If you think he is, stay seated.
Porn, like, there is a good release. Bro, if I'm not nutting, you know, it could get crazy, bro. Who knows?
That is a bullshit reason to make a mandate for other people. You guys have got to stop discrediting our points just because your faith backs you up.
Mr. Judgmental over here just shifts to my... Because listen, y'all can laugh all you want. You ain't got no game like I have. Laugh all you want.
You're never going to win me over on this idea that relationships should fundamentally be structured by one person leading another.
A man's job is to create order. A woman's job is to create the universe.
So if you no longer fully identify as a progressive man or as a traditional man, and you see yourself more as a moderate, move to the center now.
Man, that was a lot. That was a lot. When they drop in part 2, man, that was. You're not bro. You can't say I'm straight and let that be a justified. You're a straight goofball. You said I'm straight, but what was that supposed to mean? Why'd you add that? Think outside of their religion. People that say stuff like this, you gotta understand, man, when people say stuff like this, these are the type of people that think the world is good, that the world is progressing in a great way, that everything is nice, everything is going in a good direction. These are the type of people, you have to ignore these people. You really do. Bro, who is that? Come on, like let's be honest. Bro, this video is so long. I'm out of here, bro. You actually finished my video. I don't know if you watched a lot or a little, but I appreciate you. I'm gonna see you on the next video. I'm out!